Hello, guys, and welcome to the Marigold Standard, your weekly audio source of all things Dream Star Fighting Marigold. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin. I am joined by the Star League to my Dream League. It is indeed Mr. Matt Turner. Matt Turner, we are now in the midst of the Dream Star Grand Prix and the 5-star Grand Prix, and for those who are inclined, the G1 Climax. How are you holding up?
Rob going, I'm doing great. I'm fantastic. It is a beautiful, beautiful day here in northeastern Pennsylvania. Obviously, we have 4 shows to talk about here on the Marigold Standard. Before we do that, Rob Goodwin, breaking news just dropped last night. Major news. We're going to break it right here on the Marigold Standard. This is probably bigger than the WWE ESPN news that broke. This is major news. Now, I have to set the table on this news.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, just before Matt starts, please make sure you are sitting down. I mean, more importantly, if you're driving whilst listening to this, you should be sat down anyway. And if you're not, we need to have a conversation. But make sure you are seated.
Yes. So, and folks, again, I have to set the table on this news. I can't just tell you Tony Stark got the Infinity Gems, I am Iron Man, snaps of fingers. That's it. You have to have the background story.
Spoilers.
Yes, right. We're going to get from a movie from 2018 or 2019. Regardless, my all-time favorite movie, by the way, for Matt Turner trivia. Regardless, so I'm sitting in this chair just last night, and I'm watching Hanan and Saya Kamatani, which, by the way, folks, we will cover on this week on the Stardom Cast. And I'm like, the match is about halfway through, right? So yeah, I'm invested. The psychology, the storytelling, the atmosphere. I'm just really invested. My wonderful wife walks in, and she starts talking to me. I'm hearing her, but I'm not listening to her. If you know what I mean, I'm getting like every 4th or 5th word, right? And then she says something. I'm like, yeah, you should. She asked my advice for something, and I was like, yeah, which I do what you want to do. Like, what do I know? I was like, yeah, you should absolutely do that. So I'm go write my notes, and I had rewound the match a few times because it was so good. But a half an hour goes by, and I'm like, did she just? All of a sudden starts clicking. Did she just tell me what I think she's gonna do? So I go downstairs. I said, hey, did you say that you're going to enter another baking contest?
Whoa.
And she said, yes, on Thursday. Next Thursday, I'm going to be entering another baking contest. After dinner, I'm going to go down and register. So now, Rob Goodwin, we're going to tie this all into professional wrestling. This is as if Micah, who, as you know, clean sweep the 5-star Grand Prix last year. And then the next day she walks into night 1 of the Dream Star. That's what this is. That's what this is. She is trying to take all of the tournaments. Yes. So again, big news. We will find out if she's just going to be clean sweeping these baking competitions here over in northeastern Pennsylvania, buddy. So yeah, big things going on. Obviously, we have the Dream Star, the 5-star, the G1, all this great SummerSlam, which was amazing. All this great stuff going on, folks. And then my house will be smelling like all sorts of baked goodies next week. So look out.
Yeah, absolutely. What a time to be alive. Obviously, Amber trying to gain some sort of monopoly on the entire baking situation in the state of Pennsylvania. And all power to her. More power to her. Now, obviously, we know about the quite stringent rules and the rampant corruption in the apple pie baking world, Matt. Is there a certain category that she has entered, or is it a case of, just anything goes? I can bake a goulash.
From what I understand, she did take home the blue ribbon, the gold medal, the world championship of the chocolate pie contest. She can't do the chocolate cake thing. She has to enter something else. So she gave me some suggestions that has to do with strawberry, peanut butter, chocolate, and I was like, yeah, you go for it. So yeah, I think she's going to spread her wings into something else, but I'm sure she will absolutely dominate. And if she doesn't, Rob Goodwin, since I did not have to threaten anybody a few weeks ago, or Sabu, R.I.P. Sabu, throw a chair at anybody, I shall do that, buddy, because that's what a supportive husband does, my friend.
Absolutely. And she has my seal of approval, and damn right. We will, if Amber doesn't win, we riot. Maybe we should get that trending. Maybe we should get a hashtag going. But yes, hopefully she wins the big one. Hopefully she does the Saya Kamatani and goes unbeaten, because that's looking increasingly likely after the Corrigan Hall show. But this is not a Stardom podcast. It is a Marigold podcast, and we are 3 nights, technically 2, but we're 3 shows into the Dream Star Grand Prix. And Matt, in true Stardom Cast Marigold standard fashion, our predictions immediately out of the window. Like, why do we even bother doing a primer? Because immediately, huge shocks on both nights. 2 really good nights of wrestling, and then obviously the show in Hiroshima, which just had the 2 tournament matches, but then a fantastic main event with Mayu continuing her weird fixation of jumping off buses. So we'll be talking about that. Also, we didn't have time to review the show from the 29th, the final show of the Burning Desire Tour, which saw Mayu defend the Superfly title against Erina Yamanaka. So we'll quickly cover that before we get into the Dream Star shows as well. We've got to gaze at Julia to get into as well, which should be relatively quick, as she didn't appear on SummerSlam, but there we are.
No, she was on SmackDown in an absolute must-see match, buddy. Oh, it might be her best TV match outside of NXT.
Ooh.
Yes, she did not appear on SummerSlam, but had an absolute must-see banger of a match with Zelina Vega, which, yes, so we will get into that. Yeah, again, I'm assuming you didn't see it, because in my notes, I do have Ask Rob if he's seen it, because if you haven't, you should. But again, that we'll get to that at the tail end. But yes, folks, if you have not seen said match, definitely go out of your way, because Julia and Zelina Vega was there was some crazy stuff that happened in this match, my good friend. There was some Stardom stuff that happened in said match.
Yes. Putting the madness in the beautiful madness. I'll have to watch it quickly as well before they put it on yet another streaming platform.
Tubi's gonna win the streaming wars. I'm telling you, I can't follow up with everything. I'm like, holy geez. And somebody said, no, if you have ESPN Plus, you get everything, and it might be 30. I don't know. I can't figure it out. That's why Wrestle Universe and Stardom World, I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, those 2 streaming platforms, and then there's been a lot of good things coming out of women's wrestling recently, and then the arrival at the end of SummerSlam. We're not saying any more than that, but that made even more people look for alternatives. So again, Wrestle Universe, ladies and gentlemen, I can't think of a better streaming platform. They're basically giving it away. I mean, just for Marigold and Marvelous and Sendai Girls, never mind getting Noah, DDT, and everything else on top of that. Incredible value for money. Let's head into the news then, Matt Turner. Unfortunately, both bits of news are bad bits of news. Marigold did have a press conference to announce basically that the field had changed slightly for the Dream Star. The exciting rookie Senka Akatsuki from Marvelous, unfortunately, has had to withdraw from the tournament, having been hospitalized with pneumonia. Now, obviously, first and foremost, our thoughts and prayers and well wishes go out to Senka, because having pneumonia is horrendous. My mum had pneumonia, and it took her months to get over it, because it's not just the actual illness itself, it's the after effects as well, because it affects your breathing, it can affect your lungs and everything. So fingers crossed Senka makes a quick recovery and that she is able to return to the ring as soon as possible, because again, she is an absolute delight in the ring, and me and you have said at separate occasions on this podcast, is perhaps the most exciting rookie on the entire Joshi scene when you consider the rookies around Joshi at the moment, just in Stardom and Marigold. That's a very, very big slice of praise, but she is phenomenal. Obviously, we hope that she is well and is doing better. There's been no updates that I've seen anyway since the press conference. Hopefully something will come out soon enough. But she has been replaced in the Dream Star Grand Prix, a straight swap with Maria, one half of Magenta. So there is that, because Maria is all right at the wrestling, as proved. 2 very, very good matches. But the way she turned up was really funny. I don't know if you saw the translations. She basically turned up to do something. In her words, she turned up to do something and ended up being sort of lassoed into being in a tournament that she didn't realize she was going to be in, which really entertained me. And then there's the picture from the opening night and the ceremony where everyone is looking very, very focused, and then Maria's just sat there looking bored as. Brilliant, really, really good. But yes, Senka, Matt, we wish the best.
Yeah, it's a very disappointing thing, but at the same time, we want her to get better. As you mentioned, pneumonia. I've unfortunately have not been hit with it. My dad had it during COVID, so he had pneumonia and COVID at the same time.
Oh God!
And it's a scary, scary thing, especially when your big sport is professional wrestling, where you have to have 100% of your lung capacity. So again, obviously we wish her well. We don't want her rushing back, because last thing we want is her getting another injury or anything like that. But good on Marigold. When the news first broke that she's going to be missing the Dream Star with pneumonia, it was only a few days before it started. So it looked like that they were going to just forfeit all of her matches, but they quickly pivoted and got Maria in to be the replacement, which I was like, oh, obviously we were really looking forward to Senka's tournament. We talked about it in our primer. We talked about in the qualifying match, the gauntlet match that she had. Her matches were one we were all really looking forward to, but getting Maria in as a last second replacement, that is a great, great replacement, because you're absolutely right, partner. She's a fantastic wrestler. And there was the opening ceremonies where, again, everybody's kind of, just standing there doing their thing, and Maria's doing the Maria thing, and then Mayu, because Mayu was her first opponent, and Mayu's kind of looking like, what is that? Who is that? And then somebody clipped that and put on social media and said Mayu was really, really confused because she thought that Momo Watanabe was in the Dream
I
Star.
can't not see Momo Watanabe now. Whenever I see Maria, she looks so like her. And because of the mannerisms, it's even more like her.
Especially like when she first, like those first 6 months when she turned heel into a Wedotai. Like now she's like the same Momo, but a little more confident. But like it's like the first 6 months of like that heel turn of Momo Watanabe looks like Maria now. It's just like, and I just thought it was really funny. Mario was like, who is that? And then I forget who it was, whoever it was, by all means tag yourself, get yourself over. But you're like, yeah, she was confused. She thought it was Momo Watanabe walked into the wrong tournament. Amazing. I thought that was funny. But all seriousness, yeah, you're absolutely right. We hope Senka does get better, and she does take the proper time to heal and get her lungs at 100% capacity.
Yeah, it's a shame that we're not going to see her in the tournament, but obviously we know that Marvelous and Marigold are far from done with their feud. As we record, it's the 7th of August. Tomorrow, Marvelous have their Corrigan Hall show, where, of course, Marigold and Marvelous will square off again in a 10-person tag. What are your thoughts? So I don't know if you saw the backstage comments from the Hiroshima show, but I was watching them, and Hummingbird especially was very vocal. I will say she was vocal. She did take the time to wish Senka the best, which I thought was very, very nice. But she did say, yeah, we've brought someone else from another company into this tournament. What about she didn't enter the gauntlet? She wasn't even in that gauntlet. So why am I not in the tournament? Why is, Komomo Minami not in the tournament? I wanted to get your thoughts on their decision to put Maria in the tournament, as opposed to giving the opportunity to a Minami Yuki, a Komomo Minami, a Hummingbird.
Sure, and I completely understand that point of view from the Stardom roster and the Marigold roster and the Marigold fan base. But at the same time, it's like, it's not like you had a show. It's not like, okay, this happened on a Monday, we have a show on a Friday, the Dream Star starts on a Sunday. It's like you had to think quickly on your feet. Maria is a phenomenal wrestler, and she's a champion. So you will have that as well. If somebody does beat her in this tournament, it's a possibility that you can build towards a championship match. Not only that, but you have this really great rivalry going on with Marigold and Marvelous. That's not only really interesting, it's drawing a lot of money. And Senka is a big part of that. So you have to replace her with another Marigold person, or another Marvelous person. So I get like the whole, like, how come they're not in there? How come Naomi Ishikawa's not in there? Komomo Minami, Minami Yuki. I get that. But at the same time, I think the Marvelous versus Marvelous swap, as far as a business goes, I think it's the right choice. And as far as in ring, it's subjective. You can like what you like. I like Hummingbird. I love Naomi Ishikawa. I love Komomo Minami. I think Maria is a better wrestler at this point in her career. And not only that, look who she was wrestling on night one, Mayu. So it's just like, you need that absolute banger of a match on night one, which we will obviously get to in a little bit here, folks. So I have no problem with, again, I understand the whole beef behind it. Maybe you can use that and springboard that into maybe a Hummingbird versus Maria match somewhere down the line. But I just think business wise, storyline wise, and in ring wise, it really made the perfect sense. It really was a great last minute decision for Marigold and Marvelous to get Maria in the tournament.
Yeah, I do agree. I do think it was probably kayfabe, the backstage comment. But what I love, and this is what I really liked at Korakuen Hall when Rhea Sato, if you remember, was in tears, because she wanted that space in the tournament before, obviously, she discovered cigarettes and My Chemical Romance. She wanted that last spot in the tournament, and Senka said that she was going to get it. And I think that having Hummingbird come out and say, well, she doesn't deserve to be in this tournament, making the tournament feel like it is the biggest thing to be a part of in Marigold, that's what needs to happen. You need to, and this is why, again, the 5-star has been phenomenal this year, but this is what I like about the Dream Star as opposed to the 5-star, about the amount of entrants, is that it seems more exclusive, let's say. And I like that about less people in the tournament. That's why I really liked about the 2023 tournament. And then they took it to extremes because everyone got injured and even less people were in it. But overall, I like that, people are genuinely disappointed if they're not in the tournament. People are gutted if they're not in the tournament. And it just makes the tournament feel that much more special, that much more prestigious. And, Stardom, again, at the moment, the only people that aren't in the tournament are Akira Kuragani and the two rookies who've just started, and Hazuki and Koguma, because they opted out. It doesn't quite feel as prestigious, does it? And yeah, I do like that about the two fields of 8. But again, that's just my personal preference. And I do like the fact that Hummingbird is either kayfabe or legitimately annoyed that her spot has been taken by a member of another company. I do agree with you, though, especially with Maria being the champion. It does open up people to challenge them for the Twin Star Championships.
Yeah, it sets up something for the future, which ultimately that's what you want. You want to keep building. Obviously you want to focus on the now, not now Ishikawa, the now. But
we should always focus on now Ishikawa.
You're right. You want to focus on the now, but obviously, what do we build? What's next? Yeah, you want to build towards that, and having Marie in there gives you that opportunity right there to build towards your next Twin Star possible champions and or contenders.
And she is in Victoria Yuzuki's block. We've both said that we would like Celine Flora to be the ones to dethrone Magenta, and I would love that to happen at Grand Destiny in October. And again, what better way to set this up than Victoria Yuzuki pinning Maria? I mean, it works.
Boom. Love it. Yeah, good call, buddy. Good call. And give them a 3-year run with those belts.
Absolutely. And have Kazuna Tanaka just steamroll through everyone because she's fantastic. Moving on, a little bit more unfortunate news. The last bit of news that we're going to talk about today. Marigold also announced during this press conference that Ryoko Sakimura would be leaving the company effective immediately. She's been off shows since Korakuen Hall in June due to what Marigold have put out as health maintenance. We know that from blog entries that she's posted that Ryoko was having some recent struggles with mental health. However, it was confirmed that Ryoko had asked for her release from the company through her talent agency, and she has been subsequently granted it. It's a tough profession, Matt, pro wrestling. We don't know why she has decided not to carry on with wrestling, and I'm certainly not going to speculate here. There's every possibility that other opportunities have come up. There's every opportunity that she doesn't like the touring schedule. There's every possibility that it could be something completely unrelated to. It could be personal matters, could be family matters, and I don't think it's fair for us to speculate here. What I am just going to say is, whatever she does do, I hope she is happy in doing whatever that is.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right, buddy. On a lot of fronts, it is a very, very tough business. All eyes are on you, especially this day in professional wrestling with the cameras, and which turn into video cameras on your phone and YouTube, and doing press and photo shoots and whatnot. It's a really, really tough business. And not only do you have to be physically tough, you have to be mentally and emotionally tough. And sometimes it wears on you. So as you mentioned, partner, she did ask for some time off, and it looked like that when she came to the conclusion of what she wanted to do, professional wrestling wasn't in her future. So, and maybe it is. Maybe in a year from now, she'll go do something and then maybe come back to professional wrestling. And we know there is no shortage of great Joshi companies in Japan, whether it's Marigold, Stardom, Oz Academy, Ice Ribbon, Sendai Girls, Tokyo Joshi Pro, Marvelous, so on and so forth. So you're absolutely right. Whatever her next adventure is, we hope that she's happy. But I personally would love to see her back in a ring again, as long as she's personally and mentally fit. So I know that we wish her the best. Obviously, she only wrestled for a handful of months, and you can see towards the end there, the last few months, she was really getting a grasp early on in her career on who she was and what she was in the ring. Again, she was only wrestling, I think, 8 or 9 months, but she's wrestling like a 4 or 5 year veteran. So you can tell how much she put into it. So we'll see what the future holds for One Ryoko.
Absolutely. And what we'll do, ladies and gentlemen, is now we will start with the first of our 4 shows. Obviously, our main focus today is going to be on the Dream Star and the Dream Star matches themselves. The chances are, especially for the undercards of these other shows that we're going to be talking about, the chances are that we might gloss over a couple of matches. Not necessarily not talk about them, but not talk about them in the same depth, just because otherwise this is going to be an 8-hour podcast. And again, some of you think you want that. You don't. You don't at all.
You may get it. You may get it later on, because we're recording the Stardom Cast tomorrow, and there's a lot of stuff to go into. So you may get close to that 8-hour episode tomorrow.
Well, I told you, I'm currently writing a long-form episode on Mayu's career in Stardom, and the last time I checked, it is currently 18 pages long. So that might be another long one for you whenever it does come out.
And we'll supposedly he's only on 2018, folks. No, I'm just kidding.
Genuinely, I'm only on 2021. Anyway,
I was close. I was joking.
You were.
I was close.
You were. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to the final night of the Burning Desire Tour. Night 17 from the 29th of July. Seems a lifetime ago. It really does. And this was live from Shinjuku FACE. Main event was Marigold Superfly champion Mayu Iwatani defending the belt for the second time against Erina Yamanaka. 66 days, by the way, Mayu, into her reign at the time of this show. And it is worth pointing out that should Mayu retain, she had promised the next challenge to Marvelous's Mio Momono. So high stakes indeed. Now, the attendance announced inside of Shinjuku FACE was 387. It's a slight 6.07% decrease from the previous house, which was 412 on the 5th of June, and is just below the company average at the venue, which is around 405 over the 7 shows they've run in Shinjuku FACE. It is still the 4th highest that Marigold have achieved at Shinjuku, and it does include the 503 reported for Nane's produce show. So without that produce show, the average does drop, and the chances are that this is above the average. So still a good number, and we are going to be full of praise for the 2 numbers that Marigold pulled into to the Eddie and Erina Osaka number 2 for the opening 2 nights of the Dream Star.
And to be fair, this is a Tuesday, folks. Still almost 400 people on a Tuesday. That's a pretty darn good number.
Absolutely. It really is. The results then, we open with a 3-way match. Kimomo Minami defeating Hummingbird and Nagisa Takibana, pinning Nagisa with a Como clutch in 4 minutes and 55 seconds. Tag team match, the Darkness Revolution team of Misa Matsui and Chiaki defeated Megaton and Now Ishikawa, with Misa Matsui pinning Megaton with the best flying knee in the business, Matt Turner, in 11 minutes and 48 seconds. Tag team match, the Darkness Revolution duo of Ryo Saito and Nagisa Nozaki defeated the team of Mirai and Yuki Yamazaki, with Ryo Saito submitting the Mad Dog of Naniwa with the double chicken wing in 12 minutes and 19 seconds. In a singles match, which I really hope doesn't go under the radar because it was a really good match, Chika Goto defeated Minami Yuki with a choke slam in 9 minutes and 42 seconds. We then had a Dream Star Grand Prix preview 8-woman tag team match with Team Dream League, Utami Hayashishita, Koki Amare, Victoria Yuzuki, and Seri Yamanaka, and Team Star League, Chanyota Mai Sakurai, Kazuna Tanaka, and Miku Aono, ending in a time limit draw at 20 minutes. And then in your main event, Marigold Superfly Championship match, Mayu Iwatani, the champion, defeating Erina Yamanaka with a moonsault in 13 minutes and 15 seconds. Matt, let's start with the three-way then. The Curse of Hummingbird does continue, even if she didn't get pinned in this. Again, for me, this was all about Komomo Minami, this match.
Yeah, it was kind of fast-paced action. My one little tidbit here was not enough time. You had around 5 minutes with 3 wrestlers. It's really just seemed like once it got going, it kind of stopped. Everybody looked really good, but you're right, especially in the middle and towards the end of that match, it was just building up Komomo Minami. Really fun stuff. 3 young wrestlers, 3 wrestlers we really enjoy watching their progression, because where they were 6 months ago till now, it's like night and day. And I got a really good early prediction. These 3 wrestlers will be in the Dream Star next year. That's my little early Matt Turner prediction. But that's all enough stuff. Again, you always want to start off your shows with a hot opener, and this was a hot opener. 3.25 stars for me, my friend. Like I said, my one little tidbit, and that's not on them. I wish it would have got 2 or 3 minutes longer.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking at those times, though, they gave most of the matches a lot of time. 11:48, 12:19, 20-minute time limit draw, 13 minutes and 15 seconds. That's probably why this was the one match that was cut for time and inconsequential. No disrespect to these 3 women, obviously. 3-way that opened the show. You want to focus on the other matches on this card. And the right way to focus is on Megaton, because why the hell not? Megaton and Gigaton together, the Tauntauns, Matt, against Darkness Revolution. What were your thoughts on this? And again, Misa Matsui, best flying knee in the business.
Yeah, you could have taken 2 minutes off this match and gave it to match 1. This was a lot of heat, a lot of gaga. It was fun seeing the Tauntauns back together again, but there was just a long heat on both of them, and then just maybe a little too much gaga. I think 12 minutes for that type of match for me is a little bit too long. Ultimately, this is just making Chiaki look good, which I'm really excited to talk about her matches in the Dream Star, because she's put on like the best performances early on in these early stages of the Dream Star. And then Misa Matsui, the best flying knee in the business. That is not Tam Nakano picking up the win, my friend. Again, a little bit too much gaga for me, so I just didn't give it a rating.
No, fair enough. I think that's reasonable. What was your opinion on Gigaton's new makeup?
Gigaton looking badass, but again, it's just like, I get it. It's kind of like the fun team, the Tauntauns. We have Naoi Ishikawa there, and she's on the graphic. If you're watching on YouTube, just give us Naoi Ishikawa. Right there.
It's right there. Moving on then, Mirai and Yuki Yamazaki against the Darkness Revolution team. I'm a big fan of both these duos. I think that especially as Ria Sato is navigating those early days of a heel turn, I think pairing her with the natural heel that is Nagisa Nozaki, she's only going to learn from her. And I think that pairing is working really well. And I think that Mirai and Yuki Yamazaki, I know that people are crying out for Mirai to be back in that main event picture, and I'm sure she will be soon enough. I do think that her and Yuki Yamazaki are a great team as well for the exact same reasons. I mean, Yuka is clearly learning a lot from Mirai. We know that Mirai is one of the trainers in the now Marigold dojo. And I think that partnership is one that's only going to benefit the rookie.
Yeah, and I thought this was really good booking, having your only official heel faction tag team matches back-to-back wins here, because we're building them up, we're getting more heat on them, getting more sympathy on the baby faces, and again, this is the last show before the Dream Star, so I really like that booking there. How we had the heels go over match 2 and match 3 back-to-back. But you're right. Yamazaki teaming with her trainer Mirai, she's only going to learn and learn more, because Mirai will be on the apron and she'll be seeing things that she's doing wrong, that she could be, or I shouldn't say wrong. She's seeing things that she'd be doing better. And then, the next week in the dojo, be like, hey, try this or try that. Because one of the many great things about professional wrestling is you can never perfect it. you can always work on something. What works for Rob may not work for Matt, and vice versa. So Mirai might be there. Hey, when we were in this match last week with Nagisa and Rhea, you did this. Maybe try this, or instead of this, or sell this way, because she's right there. She's literally hands-on on the training and hands-on in the matches. So that's how you guys only going to consistently get better. Plus, you're putting in the ring with Rhea Sato, who, again, one of the most improved wrestlers in all of wrestling this calendar year, and Nagisa Nozaki, one of our favorites. Always great seeing Nagisa and Mirai bang it out, my man, because those two are two hard hitters, no BS, right up into your face. And then towards the end there, we got a little bit of a singles match with Yuka and Rhea Sato. But Rhea Sato locking in the cattle mutilation for the tap out. A really, really solid match. 3.5 stars for me, partner.
I love that move. I really do. And I think she executes it really well. I am also a big fan. She was my MVP of the press conference, simply for the book that she's taken to drawing all of the competitors in and then crossing out which limb she's going to target. That's badass. I mean,
like
don't get me wrong. Yeah, exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. It does give sort of, like Koki Amare, she said she was going to target the left knee. Koki knows now that she's going to go after the left knee, doesn't she? But even so, I think it's such a badass little gimmick. Love it, and I think it worked really well during those opening 2 matches, especially the one with Koki Amare. But yes, definitely one of the most improved, certainly. Moving on to a match I'm really happy to talk about: Chika Goto and Minami Yuki. Matt, now I watched this show live just before we recorded the Marigold Standard last week, both episodes of the Marigold Standard last week, and you hadn't had chance to watch this show to that point. Now, I raved about this match, said the main event was predictably good. It's got Mayu Iwatani in it, of course. Sunrise, sunset, Mayu has a good match. There's only certain things that are guaranteed in this world, ladies and gentlemen. Death, taxes, and Mayu Iwatani having a 4-star plus match. But this, I was really worried was going to go under the radar. But if ever you wanted to see a match that showcases the development of these two wrestlers, this is it. Together, these two were fantastic. Minami Yuki's progress, and I think a lot of that needs to be put onto Chika Goto, because since their partnership, since they've been tagging together, and they were sort of forced together with Koki Amare's injury, but these two have teamed together a lot. It's helped Minami Yuki with her confidence in ring. So let's be honest, one thing that Chika Goto has never been short of, it's been confidence. And she's improved. We've talked about it over and over again, that determination, that grittiness, that determined focus that she has in ring now, and it worked really well here to give Minami Yuki that platform to be the babyface, the underdog, and I think she did a wonderful job. It's the best singles outing by far for Minami Yuki, who again has gone from strength to strength over the course of this first part of this year, and Chika Goto fast becoming one of the most exciting things for me to watch on Marigold programming, simply because you can't help but not get behind her. Before, it was very much for me, and I think I said this on the podcast, she always had the aura and the confidence. She always had the entrance, but in the ring, it wasn't quite clicking. Whereas it was for Koki Amare, I didn't feel like it was for Chika Goto. Since that injury in January to Koki, Chika Goto has taken it to another level, to the point where in the Dream Star, I'm looking at her fixtures and I'm like, there's no one there that she can't beat. Whereas last year, I know that she picked up 1 win, and I think we expected her to just pick up the 1 win. This year, if she was to pick up 4 wins, I don't think anyone would go, what are you doing? What's this sort of booking? That's just the difference in 2024 Chika Goto and 2025 Chika Goto, Matt.
Yeah, one of the many, many great things. Bless you, good sir. One of the great, and nice job muting. That was really good. Like, very talented man you are, good sir. One of the many great things about doing this podcast and doing this podcast with you partners, we watch the development of wrestlers, whether they're rookies, mid-carders, main eventers, we get to see the development of wrestlers. And I say all the time, not just in wrestling, but in life, when I see somebody really, really working at their craft and getting better, there's no bigger thrill for me. And she could go to Manami Yuki. Again, we've been covering this since day one of Marigold. And you can just see the development and the improvement and the fact that these two have been teaming on these quote unquote Wrestle Universe shows, house shows. And like, wow, they're a really great like mid-card tag team. Maybe after the Dream Star, this is a team maybe we push to a possible title opportunity or somewhere we push up the card because they're great as a team. And as you just mentioned, partner, this show happened on the day we were recording. I did not get a chance to see it, and you were telling me how great this match was. And this was terrific. And considering the fact you can just see how better that they're getting each and every outing. By no means is it Utami versus Mirai because they're main eventers, but it's just like, wow, these two have gotten so much better in the last 5 or 6 months. You can tell how much they're putting into it, whether it's at the dojo, getting to shows early, staying late, picking the brains of the Mayus, the Utamis, the Nanais, so on and so forth. They're getting better in every aspect. It's one thing just to do the moves. It's another thing when you're connecting the moves together. It's another thing when you're taking your time to sell. It's another thing when you're taking your time to tell a story and add psychology and get the crowd involved and know what to do and when to do. These two are starting to put all the little things together at the right time. We saw them as doing it as a tag team, and they did it here. This is a really, really great outing between the two. I knew the match was going to be good for 2 reasons, Rob. 1, you really put it over to me on air and off air. And 2, started with a big lockup. Now I'm in.
Absolutely.
When you get that good lockup, Rob Goodwin, when you get that good, and I'm not just talking about in the parking lot of Allegiant Stadium after me and you drank a whole bunch of margaritas. I'm talking about
it was a solid lockup. That
was a great lockup, but I put you over. I know people in the independents that don't do lockups like that. Anywho, really good stuff. Goto, who is she's the veteran in this match, even though she hasn't been wrestling that long. She's the veteran in this match, and she takes the advantage early on. And Manami Yuki's selling, and Goto's giving her time to sell, and then she's letting her fire back, and we get some really great stuff here. Manami Yuki again, that arming guillotine that she does, that hammerlock guillotine, really great stuff. I like how Chika Goto is using not only the giant swing but the reverse giant swing. So we're seeing 2 different versions of a move that we really don't get to see that much, like with the exception of Claudio and Lady C. I can't remember the last time a wrestler in the last 10 years has consistently used the giant swing. So Chika Goto using the traditional version and a regular version, or in a reverse version. I really like that. Great hard-hitting action. Everything really up my alley. The Manami Yuki almost does like that triangle lancer into a pin, which I really, really like. We've seen her catch opponents there. And there was a really great panic sell from Chika Goto. Like, I can't get out of this. I can't get out of this. And she kicks out the very last second. Again, that is really, really storytelling. That's epic storytelling that you're adding to the match, and you're building the drama and you're selling the drama. And they do a great job teasing and building up to the choke slam. Eventually, Chika Goto finally hits the choke slam for the 3 count. Really great stuff between the two. 3 3/4 stars. And as much as I enjoyed this with them on opposite ends, I would really like to see them just be a tag team. Moving forward, I think Marigold needs to do a job after coming out after the Dream Star. They need to do a better job establishing tag teams. We say Celine Flora all the time, but we really don't get to see Tanaka and Yuzuki teaming up just as a tag team that often. Hopefully we can because the tag division, the tag wrestlers are really great in Marigold. If they can establish a tag team, a tag division, and build them towards the end of the year, I think it'll be all systems even more go for Marigold. Match was great. 3 3/4 stars. Again, they're great opponents. We saw it right here, Rob. But I would like to see them team up more. We have seen them team up, but I'd like to see them more as a permanent team. And then after the Dream Star and going into the fall and winter months, maybe getting a push to a tag title shot. Because I think them and Celine Flora and like Corkin, 16, 17 minutes, I think they blow the roof off the building.
I wonder if we'll run another Twin Star Cup. Because if
so.
we do, I imagine we probably will. And I really hope it stays as a single elimination because I really liked that. But again, Chika Goto and Manami Yuki are certainly a team that could enter that and do quite well. I don't think they'd win it, but I could certainly see them making a final, certainly. And again, that's only going to help them develop and help them grow. I think it was important for Chika Goto to have this singles match before the Dream Star, and I think it's important to just remind everyone of the progress that Manami Yuki has made as well. Moving on then, the Dream Star Grand Prix preview match. Matt, you could have given me, well, I think we both knew this was going to go to a time limit draw, wasn't it? And I wasn't necessarily that bothered because I quite liked this match. 8 women who are fantastic, 8 women I thoroughly enjoy watching. Chan Yota, who is fast becoming one of my favorite wrestlers to watch. Yeah, we knew this was coming. We knew a draw was coming. And you know what? I was absolutely fine with it because it was a great advert for the tournament to come. And that's what it was there to do.
No, and this needed to be a draw. Like once this match started, I'm like, this needs to be a and I was hoping, because sometimes we see the draws go 15 or go 20. I was like, oh no, I like to see this one go 20 because you have 8 wrestlers. This is, it says right there in the graphic, if you're watching on YouTube, Dream Star preliminary match. You're building towards your Dream Star, which again, this is the final show before we get into the tournament. So I'm like, this should go to a time limit draw. It needs to go to a time limit draw. It's simple booking, easy storytelling. And I thought this was great. This was terrific. You have Yuzuki and Tanaka on opposite ends. You had really great stuff with Vittoria Yuzuki and Mai Sakurai. That's a match I would like to see for the United National Championship. Chan Yota, you're absolutely right, partner. It really seems like these last 7 or 8 shows, like she's always been really good. Like the little stuff we saw in Stardom, we saw her sprinkled in a little bit in Marigold at the end of last year and beginning of this year. These last like 6, 7, 8 shows that she's been on, it's like, wowzer, she's somebody that can be a main eventer in this scene. Sarah Yamaoka just looked like she just has one gear, and that's to destroy you. Koki Amare, considering the fact that she's coming out with Utami Hayashishita, it's like aura bouncing off aura. Like, I mean, just the aura of those two, and the fact that Koki is on the Utami level of aura. We've only seen Koki wrestle for a year, and we've followed Utami's career since the beginning in 2018. It's just like that is compliment after compliment. But again, you mentioned this to me off air last week, buddy, and I was just like, I can't wait to watch it. I'm going to mention it now. For months and months and months, we getting sprinkles, little nibbits, little bites of Utami versus Miko Ano. We got a lot. We got a lot of bites at the burger, buddy. We got a lot of bites at the apple of these two just laying into each other. And again, we think that's what's going to happen in Ryogoku Kakakigan, Rob. I think that's the perfect match to go to. I thought there was really great stuff. Everybody looked terrific. 20 minutes, everybody got enough stuff in. This was a nice, Utami got her stuff in. Koki Amare did. Yuzuki, Sarah Yamaoka, obviously Tanaka, Chan Yota, Miko, and Mai Sakurai. But for me, coming off this, the main thing is Utami versus Miko Ano and Vittoria Yuzuki versus Mai Sakurai. I would love to see those matches somewhere down the line again. I think Utami and Miko, I think that's got to be your big red belt championship match in Sumo Hall coming up in October for Grand Destiny. Great stuff. Again, a really great commercial to drive to your Dream Star. 4.25 stars for me, my friend. One of my favorite multi-person tag matches from Marigold this year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I thought this was absolutely phenomenal. I thought it was really well booked. I thought it was really well paced. And you're absolutely right. That Utami and Miko Ano tease, because Marigold have been very restrained in holding back in the exchanges between them, never mind actual full matches, the exchanges between these two, it's building that level of excitement. And, when we do eventually get it, we do think it will be at Grand Destiny, but again, could be at a Korakuen. They might do something else at Grand Destiny. The eventual match that we get between these two is going to be great. It's going to be excellent. Vittoria Yuzuki and Mai Sakurai is an interesting one. That's one I don't think that they will run at Grand Destiny, because I think they will run Mai Sakurai and Mirai for the white belt at Grand Destiny. That's just my personal feeling.
I just think that I'm sorry, I meant to interrupt. I just think that might be the match between, like, there might be one Utami title defense and one Mai Sakurai title defense before Grand Destiny, and that's a good shout. Yuzuki versus Mai Sakurai, because that'll put a lot more shine on Yuzuki, and then maybe you do Celine Flora versus Magenta, as we mentioned about 20 minutes ago, buddy, at Grand Destiny. That's a possibility, buddy. I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt. Continue it, sir.
It's all right. You're absolutely right. But of course, Vittoria Yuzuki might have eyes on a bigger prize following the Dream Star opening night. And we talked about title defenses in the interim. Perhaps Utami versus Vittoria Yuzuki is the way to go in the Korakuen in between the Dream Star and Grand Destiny. I mean, they might not run a title match between the two. I don't know. However, if they do, especially after what transpired after the opening out of the Dream Star, I think that will be a great fill defense, because I think even though Vittoria Yuzuki is phenomenal. Phenomenal with a capital H. Phenomenal. I don't think she's ready for the red belt yet, and I don't think there's anyone that thinks that she is the one to dethrone Utami, at least not yet anyway. However, putting her in that picture is a very logical step, because I do think she belongs in the white belt picture, and I think she has a legitimate claim to potentially dethrone Mai Sakurai. However, I think putting her in that red belt picture as well just sort of gives her that exposure in the main event. And that's something that's very, very exciting.
Yes, sir.
Moving on then to the main event, your Superfly title match. Matt Turner, I said it earlier, I will say it again. There are some things that are certain in this life. Death, taxes, and Mayu Iwatani having a 4-star plus match. This was another one of those occasions. However, much as I am want to throw praise at Mayu, because she's pretty good at this whole wrestling thing, Erina Yamanaka was phenomenal in this match. I thought she was fantastic. Easily her best singles outing. You know, her match with Mai Sakurai for the United National title was really good. This was another level for her. I think her style matched Mayu really, really well. And again, it's Mayu Iwatani. Mayu Iwatani can style match with absolutely anyone and get at least a 3 3/4 star match with them. But this, I thought, was really, really good. And I thought the fact that Mayu, prior to this match, had publicly said that of everyone in Marigold, Erina Yamanaka was someone that she was interested in wrestling. That little bit of a rub for Erina goes a hell of a long way. Yes, we knew she wasn't dethroning Mayu Iwatani. We knew that Mayu Iwatani's first pinfall in Marigold was not going to come to Erina Yamanaka. I mean, I didn't think it was coming till the final of the Dream Star, but what the hell do I know?
We'll get into that. Yeah, we're batting the opposite. We're batting 2% out of 100% on that, which was making this tournament really good. But yeah, we'll get into that.
Absolutely. You know for a fact that Hatman's sitting there listening to this podcast going, I'll show them. But yeah, I thought this was a great match. And again, we talked about it last week. Unfortunately, 2 days before this match, Mayu's father passed away. So for Mayu to do that under the incredible emotional stress of losing a parent just speaks to how damn good she is and how resilient and strong she is, because there was a moment when she was on the top turnbuckle at the start of the match and you could see the tears in her eyes. From there, you couldn't tell there was anything wrong until she delivered those lovely words at the end of the show, where she dedicated the match to her dad. And, you know, we spoke about it last week, and thank you to Mira Wrestling for the outstanding translation of all the translations they've done. That was the best one. But to do that, I thought was phenomenal and spoke volumes of the professionalism of Mayu. And Pocky got a bit of a shout out as well, got chants during the opening, which made Mayu laugh. So that was nice as well. Excellent work, Shinjuku FACE crowd. But overall, Matt, a great title defense. And we talked, or at least I have, about where you go after Misa Matsui, because looking on the face of it, the roster, you don't immediately point at someone and go, Superfly division. You know, Natsumi Shozuki is out and will be out for, at the moment, the prognosis is looking like the rest of the year. So she's out of it. You can't have Misa Matsui challenge again. She's already challenged 4 times and has lost 4 times. Yuzuki's not getting a rematch yet. The only people now that I look at and immediately go Superfly division are Kazuna Tanaka and now Erina Yamanaka, because I thought Erina Yamanaka in the Superfly division was a match made in heaven. I thought that worked really, really well. I know you are going to say Megaton, okay? And Megaton goes without
I gave you the
saying,
poker face. I gave the poker face for a reason. Again, I love how, like a year and a half ago we decided to switch from doing just audio now video. So now this way, if I want to give you the signal, like whenever I'm telling Header to like work the apron more, I kind of just give him the glance like, oh, I need to work the apron more. That's it. So you knew what I was saying. I gave you the body language. Going, I threw you the Megaton. You hit it out of the park, buddy. Absolutely. Superfly Ton. That's right.
Oh my God. Incredible. Imagine. And they'd paint like the Megaton makeup on the belt. But I think adding someone like Erina to this division is really, really good, because that's what you've got to think. Once Mayu drops this belt, because she will eventually drop this belt, because she is going to need to go into that top echelon of belts. Is she going for the United National title? Is she going for the Crimson Red belt? And I think Erina Yamanaka is a really good person to build a division around. I know that she's not on every show with her yoga studios and things like that, but she's certainly someone that I could see being a future champion without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, again, if I haven't made mention in a while, but you have to remember, Rob, that she's going to be in NXT Halloween Havoc. Remember Kaini Watani? We haven't brought that up. So you're right, she's not going to be champion forever. No, obviously, brother, you made a lot of really good points. Mayu can have a great match with anybody, but at the same time, you need to rise to that level. And Erina is more than rise to that level. She is somebody that if she decides to be a wrestler full time, she fits this Marigold roster really well. She's something different, yet all in the same all at once. She has charisma. She has aura. She really worked the Superfly style. I mean, you look at the first 2 minutes of this match, and she's outmining Mayu. Again, Mayu, former high-speed champion, the current Superfly champion. She works that junior style really well. And Erina's going hold for hold with her, and not only keeping up with her, but basically outshining Mayu. And Mayu's like, oh, damn, I didn't see that coming. And then Mayu has to revert to the hard strikes that we know that, one of the many things she's known for is that hard-hitting style to kind of slow Erina down. But like, yeah, I didn't see that coming. And we get really great back and forth. Erina does the spider superplex. She does the split leg drop kick. She does the showstopper. Really great stuff, or the split leg drop. I mean, she has a lot of this match, and it really catching Mayu off guard. Like, Mayu really has to bring up her game in order to pull this one out. Really great, some great fire too. Mayu with the super kicks and buzzsaw kicks and German suplex, and Erina just keeps fighting. Mayu just can't seem to put her down. Erina was great for so many different reasons in this match. Again, keeping up with Mayu with the high speed style, the Superfly style, being able to, go move for move with her. And not only that, but when Mayu gets to that next level, throwing those bombs, can Erina be able to hold up? Because we haven't seen her in these big style matches before. And she did. The fact that she went 13 minutes with one of the best in the world, and in my opinion, along with Io Shirai, the greatest in-ring women's wrestler of all time, still in her prime, she really looked like $1 million here. And I liked how, you get towards the end, Mayu, she hits the German suplex, and then she locks in the hanging dragon, which Mayu does not use that often, but when she does, it's usually lights out. And I was like, as she puts in the hanging dragon, I was getting ready to write my notes, tap out. Erina winds up getting out of that. And, they kind of go back and forth a little bit. Mayu eventually hits the buzzsaw kick, leads to the top rope moonsault. Excellent stuff here. Again, Mayu's Mayu, just another great match in her catalog, but Erina really brought it. I totally agree. Definitely her best performance since seeing her in Marigold. This is one I would love to see run back sometime again soon, because these two have really great instant chemistry, which again just goes to show you how great Mayu is. She's never stepped in the ring with Erina before. Gives her, in my opinion, her best match that she ever had. And again, a lot of credit goes to Erina because she needed to step up her game, and she sure did. As I say all the time, Rob, one of the many great things about professional wrestling, it's a sport that even if you lose, you win. And even though Erina was looking at the lights, she came off this show as the biggest winner.
Oh God, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, as I mentioned at the top of the review, getting Mayu's seal of approval before the match even starts is huge for her, and hopefully she can capitalize on that. And yeah, obviously we've now got the potential, though it hasn't been confirmed yet, Mayu Iwatani versus Mia Momono, and can't think of a better way to put that, or better place to put that match than the upcoming Corrigan Hall match. So here's hoping. Let's move on then to the Dream Star Grand Prix. The opening two nights were on the 2nd, or the two shows, sorry, should I say, were on the 2nd of August. Of course, if you haven't had chance to start watching the Dream Star Grand Prix yet, can I make a cheap plug and say you should absolutely check out our primer, slightly outdated because it contains Senka Akatsuki, because in true Marigold standard fashion, we released the primer and the following day, Senka went out with pneumonia. So just bear that in mind and just replace everything with Senka to Maria. Okay. Otherwise, it's perfectly fine. And you will hear that I 100% called the main event of the first show. But that first show was the afternoon show from the Edion Arena in Osaka, number 2. Edion Arena, Osaka, number 2. Crucial difference, not number 1. But yes, we had 615 people inside the building, which was reported as a sellout by Marigold. Not only is this the first time the company has passed the 600 mark in the venue, but it's also a 69.42% increase on their previous best at the venue, which was 363 on the 31st of August. 615 also marks the highest Joshi attendance of 2025 in the venue and the highest Joshi attendance in the venue overall since the 11th of June 2023. So truly an absolutely fantastic number from Marigold. It really, really is. Looking at our results then, apparently 8 singles matches wasn't enough, so we had a pre-show match, 8-woman tag team match. Shino Minami Yuki Yamazaki, and Kamomo Minami defeated Hummingbird Naoya Ishikawa, Nagisa Takibana, and Megaton, with Yamazaki bringing out her inner Matt Hardy with the Twist of Fate in 7 minutes and 6 seconds, pinning Megaton. All the next matches are Dream Star Grand Prix matches. Dream League match, Seri Yamaoka moves to 2 points, defeating Chiaki with the Aoki clutch in 8 minutes and 42 seconds. Star League, Nagisa Nozaki defeats Kazuna Tanaka with the Noir Lancer in 5 minutes. Dream League, Koki Amare defeats Ria Sato with a big boot in 5 minutes and 18 seconds. Star League again, Mirai defeating Chika Goto with a leg capture inside cradle in 9 minutes and 21 seconds. In what I thought was going to be the shock of the night, and trust me, it wasn't, Misa Matsui defeated Miko Ano in the Star League with a European clutch in 12 minutes and 41 seconds. Dream League, Mayu Iwatani defeated Maria with the victory roll in 8 minutes and 23 seconds. Star League match and an absolutely belting match. Chan Yota defeating Mai Sakurai with a pump handle blue thunder bomb in 13 minutes. And then in your main event, victory lap for Rob Goodwin, even though I think a lot of people called him. I'm still going to claim it. Dream League main event, Victoria Yuzuki pins the world champion Utami Hayashishita clean with a rolling arrow in 11 minutes and 33 seconds. Matt Turner, obviously, we opened with that pre-show match, and what was nice was it was Naoya Ishikawa, not Gigaton.
Rob, when this started, I was like, yeah, Megaton and Hummingbird on the same team. Now, we know we did a lot of predictions. By the way, I did pick Utami to defeat Victoria Yuzuki. So, yes, take your victory lap, good sir. I did not see that coming. What I did see coming, I was just like, oh, boy, I love Nagisa Takibana. I love Naoya Ishikawa. We got Hummingbird and Megaton on the same team. I don't care what other 4 wrestlers in the history of wrestling come out on the other side. That first team is going to lose, Rob Goodwin, and they sure did.
How dare you? Your lack of faith in Megaton offends me.
Yeah, but I'm a realist too, sometimes. Anywho, I thought this was good as a fun opener pre-show. You know, you're getting these wrestlers, these young wrestlers in front of over 600 people, and you're giving them a decent amount of time, 7 minutes. You know, obviously, most of the stuff is focused to the Dream Star, and there's a good possibility that these 8 ladies can be in the Dream Star of next year. I'm so impressed by her. The handful of times that we've seen her wrestle, I thought she had some really good stuff with Hummingbird. Naoya Ishikawa works really well with a Kamomo Minami. We've seen that before. Again, this was just a nice head. Let everybody get in, get the crowd warmed up. Let everybody get familiar with it. Again, sellout crowd, 650 people, as you said, buddy, almost a 70% increase from the last house they're done. So, of course, let them go away, let them, get some stuff in. And maybe, there might be something where those 600 people go home and say, boy, I was really impressed by that Naomi Ishikawa or that Chino, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, good enough stuff. 3.5 stars for me, my friend.
Or that Megaton. I mean, literally, it's right there, Matt. It's right there. It's disappointing. And of course, we will be on the agenda of Megaton for Dream Star next year.
I think we should do a 3-year build, like not like 2028, Megaton 2028, like the presidential shirts, because we in the States we have them every 4 years. Megaton for Dream Star 2028.
Have those lawn signs hammered into the lawn. Megaton for Dream Star.
I think that's what I'll do one of these days. I don't think Amber. I highly doubt Amber knows who Megaton is, but I was just like, and then we'll put the makeup on, like, and she'll come home. She's like, "What did you put in our yard?" Considering she does all the landscaping, that's why my house looks so nice. But like, people are like, what's that Megaton Dream Star 2028? Like, is that presidential thing? I'm like, better. It's the Dream Star.
Absolutely. I am 100% when we go to Japan and we go to the Marigold shows. I'm 100% doing makeup like Megaton. Moving on to the Dream Star Grand Prix. Erina Yamanaka picking up the first victory of 2025's tournament against Chiaki. Chiaki, unfortunately, starting this year's tournament in the same way she ended last year's, with another loss. However, something that is noticeable about Chiaki is, her matches are longer. Her average match time is 8 minutes and 14 seconds as opposed to 6 minutes last year. But also, especially in this match, she was very dominant.
Yeah, not only that, Rob, she brought back the Iron Claw. Every single one of these matches,
she did.
We don't get to see it that much. And I did not realize this until I'm looking at this graphic right here. She is CM Punk's pick to win because she says that Punk NK. So my guess would be,
there you go.
She is former WWE World Champions CM Punk's pick to win the Dream Star. All joking aside, this was great because it was hard hitting. It was right up my alley. You had the bending and the breaking of the rules, not in front of the referee, and then Sari has to overcome. You're absolutely right. She was really dominant, which really makes it look like the few things that Sari did in this match, it was really impactful. It really made sense. So again, I thought this was great. I think Chiaki and all these matches, she's been really, really good. She's really stepped up her game. She's bringing back the Iron Claw. Obviously, Rob, you know me, I'm a massive fan of the Von Erichs. So I thought this was a really good way to start off the tournament. Again, Erina Yamanaka, who you can kind of tell, it's like, well, they must have some big things planned for her because she's the first one to get the first win, is on the back foot. She didn't do much in this match, but everything she did made for impact. And you're kind of just like, I think they have big plans for her. We would find out just a few hours later what said plans were. Again, solid match, 3.25 stars for me, buddy.
Moving on then, Kazuna Tanaka versus Nagisa Nozaki. Nagisa Nozaki wiping Kazuna Tanaka out with that Noir Lancer. Goodness gracious me, there was some stank on that. I have, and this was something that we mentioned in the primer, we are both enormous fans of Kazuna Tanaka. Unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be her year. Call me a pessimist, but I feel like she might be there to pick up a random 2 points. But unfortunately, I do think that she'll be seeing the lights a lot during this tournament.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of just get this one little negative thing out of the way, and I think I text you that some of these matches in the first 4 or 5 were too short. Like, I understand why they did it in the 5-star because you had 16 matches, and I get it. You had 16 matches on day 1, but they were split up into 2 shows, so you had that little of a breather. I think that these matches, the fact that this match only got 5 minutes, and it still was good, 3.25 stars. If it's got 7, 8, 9 minutes to tell their story, because these two work similar styles, they're very hard hitting styles. And when it comes to submission, obviously, Kazuna Tanaka, she loves to use that Fujiwara armbar. Nagisa Nozaki likes to use the rear naked choke. So it's simple submission and simple storytelling that, like, when this match ended, I was like, man, we only went a few minutes here. And I think it would have benefited from a few minutes longer. Maybe we'll get that in a tag match somewhere in the future with Celine Flora versus Nagisa and Misa or Chiaki. I would love to see that because they have really great chemistry. But again, it just seemed like some of these matches, I just wish they went a little bit longer, which just goes to show you how talented these wrestlers in Marigold are and how great these matches really, really were But you're right. Ultimately, just Nagisa Nozaki bullying poor Kazuna Tanaka at the end and just hitting that Noir Lancer, pardon me, for the 3 count. 3.25 stars for me.
Yeah, I do agree that some of the matches were a tad short. I think this was a tad short. Obviously, Koki and Rhea, which we're going to talk about in a moment, I would have liked to have seen go a little bit longer. Even the Mayu and Maria match, I would have liked to have gone a little bit further. Although I can see why that one didn't go as long because of the way they did the finish. By the way, just for those who are wondering, which is probably none of you, but the Dream Star actually has a longer match average time than the 5-star this year. Although I imagine that's a lot to do with Waka Sugiyama's tournament.
We'll talk about it. I think I know where they're going with that, and I think I know where we'll talk about that when we record our 18-hour episode tomorrow.
I think I know where we might be going as well, and hopefully it's the same way we're going with Kazuna Tanaka. Moving on then, because Koki Amare and Rhea Sato. Matt, we talked a little bit already about the book of Rhea, which I'm a huge fan of. Not only because the drawings are really good, but also the way that she is already focusing on a body part before the match has even started and then focuses the match around that limb. Big fan of that. I think it's something different. I think it's something unique to her character. And if she continues this submission sniper sort of mentality, she's going to be a great heel. And I think the turn to Darkness Revolution is going to really help her with that. But I thought, again, I was really enjoying this match. And then it just finished. And I was like, oh, damn it. It was just building because Rhea was doing such a great job of completely eviscerating Koki's leg. I was like, yes, this is what I want to see from Rhea Sato. I want to see it. But, oh, okay, the match is finished. Damn it. It's the one match where I was like, oh, come on.
Yeah, and again, this gimmick that they're doing with her, nobody else is doing it. It's something that stands out. She's just newly turned heel. It makes sense for her character and for what we've even seen her do before the heel turn. So what I would have done is I would have had a match that she was going to win to establish it. It's like, here's my game plan. Here's what I'm going to do. You put it over in the press conference. She comes out with it, and then she eats an L in 5 minutes. We don't expect her getting a lot of wins, but you're doing something really cool with her with that gimmick. Why have her lose in the first match in a little over 5 minutes? So, like, I would have booked it. I would have picked out the person that she was going to beat and have her beat her. Be like, see, I told you. Go ahead, good sir.
I'm just going to stop you there because you've literally just said there, pick out the person she's going to beat. Let me just remind you of Dream League. Utami, Mayu, Yuzuki, Koki, Seri, Chiaki, and obviously now Maria, not Sanka. I don't see who Rhea is beating in that. Perhaps Chiaki? But she's a member of her own stable. I wouldn't do that on the opening night. I mean, of those, I would argue that Koki Amare is probably the one that Rhea Sato had the best chance of beating. Maybe Victoria Yuzuki because of the turn.
Well, again, I mean, I think that she should have beaten Utami and Mayu on the same night and then not win at all. Let's get over the gimmick. But you see my point. You see, it's a really cool gimmick.
I do see your point. Yes,
I get it. It's just like which one do you go? Do you go with? But again, it's something we're talking about. It's something really cool. I think it would be funny because she's a heel, and it'd be really funny. Just like, okay, Koki, I'm going to target your knee. The bell rings, they circle up, she goes for the knee, and then Koki jumps over and rolls her up. Like, it's like, ha, I got you. False sense of security, got you. You know what I mean? See ya. Like, I think that
Koki's like, you've been walking around with that notebook for ages. I've known you're going to target my knee for the last 3 days.
I just came back from a knee injury. It doesn't take a genius to figure it out. How funny it would have been, because obviously Koki's like teaming with Megaton, and Megaton is like, maybe she seconds her. And right before the bell rings, Megaton whispers something into her ear, and all of a sudden it clicks, and Koki like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And when they go to lock up, she puts her knee out just a little bit, and then she goes for it and rolls her up, and then Megaton's like, yes. And like Megaton is like the genius behind Koki Amare. Like, she's the coach behind it. Oh, come on. Coach Megaton. She comes out with the whistle and the hat like Bill Alfonso. Come on.
But then what if Rhea Sato is like playing 4D chess? And she knows that Koki is going to be like, oh, I know you're going to target my knee. So instead, it's a triple bluff. And when Koki sticks out a knee, Rhea targets the arm.
And then she goes, and then she goes back to the knee because now she's selling the arm and she's got her guard up on the arm, and then she goes into the knee. Rob, we just talked. We just talked about this for 10 minutes in the match.
Our review has lasted longer than the match, admittedly.
Again, simple psychology here as far as the match goes. Rhea goes after the knee for obvious reasons. She's got the death notebook. Koki's knee's injured. Rhea's really good at going after body parts. Koki has to fight from underneath, and then once she creates that space, she creates that space with some stiff strikes, and eventually puts her down with the big boot. 3.25 stars for me. But we just booked and rebooked Rhea Sato's tournament 10 times over. I remember beating Mayu and Utami, the 2 stars of this company, in the opening night, and then losing to everybody else.
I will be perfectly honest. I thought Koki Amare's selling was really good in this. And I know that she won with a big boot, but I do think that it worked really, really well, because there's no way she's getting up for the Amethyst Butterfly with a bad knee. And Rhea's work on the knee was really good. And this is something that bled into her match with Utami later on the evening show, because the selling of the arm was really good and her work on the arm was really good as well. Moving on then, Mirai and Chika Goto. This was the match that I wanted from Chika Goto, because we knew, again, and this is going to sound really horrible, we knew she wasn't beating Mirai. I think we both think Mirai is going to be someone who is going to be there or thereabouts. We talked about it in the primer. She's going to be there or thereabouts on the final night, unless you're calling Matthew, who thinks she's going to win the entire tournament and then never lose ever again. Go on a 1,048-day winning streak or whatever.
Hell yeah. Give her the Bruno Sammartino 70s.
Absolutely.
Run. Absolutely.
It would be quite good, to be fair, and I've said that. But Chika Goto is all about the performance here, because there is a chance, again, and I've mentioned it before, 2024 Chika Goto would have been blown away in this match in probably under 5 minutes. And yet here, she hung with Mirai. And yes, Mirai got the victory, absolutely. But Chika Goto is someone who's so endearing at the moment that you can't help but root for her. I think this match was the perfect opener for her. Even if she wasn't going to win, what is your tournament going to be, Chika Goto? Right, it's going to be about this, and showcasing it against one of the best wrestlers in the company was a great strategy.
Not only that, but she didn't back down at all. You're absolutely right.
Chika Goto, absolutely not.
8, 9, 10 months ago, she would have backed down, because Mirai is one of the hardest hitters, not just in this company, but planet Earth. Not just in wrestling, but just in planet Earth of any form of athletics.
Ask Utami's collarbone.
Yes, but she didn't back down at all, and she was really aggressive in this match. Not only that, but I love the finish, because Mirai obviously has the lariat, several different versions of the lariat. She has the Mirror Mirai shock, that sit out DVD, and then the Mirror Mirai, the double wrist lock, the Kimura, whatever you want to call it. Those are like her go-to moves. None of them were working on Chika Goto, where Mirai, this is the genius booking that is going to be Mirai in this tournament. Mirai had to use what is called the mousetrap. When I learned this hold in Chikara, when it was taught to me, it was called the mousetrap. So that's what I'm going to call it continuing out. She had to do something different. She had to use almost a flash pin using the mousetrap to defeat Chika Goto. So now Mirai, not only did Chika Goto over because the bombs that she throws, they wouldn't work, because Chika Goto was standing up to it, and she was showing power, and she was showing fighting spirit, and she was showing fire and aggression. But not only did Mirai have to go into something new, this adds a new finishing sequence for Mirai in this tournament. We love the lariats and the double wrist lock and the Mirror Mirai shock, but we now know, because it was planted in our heads, the seed was planted in our heads on night one in front of over 600 people, in front of a great show, that she can beat you with that mousetrap roll-up. So it's like a double booking here. Again, not only does it make Chika Goto look good, because the lariats and the usual stuff that has gotten Mirai to the dance before, it didn't work on Chika Goto, because Chika Goto was game Chika Goto. But now we're putting another move in the already impressive arsenal that is Mirai. So you had double great stuff there. You're absolutely right, buddy. She wasn't backing down. The giant swing, the forearms, the boots. She was taking it to Mirai. She was basically almost out Mirai in this match, where, like I said, Mirai had to go deep into the arsenal to a move we've never seen her win a match before to get the win. 3.5 stars for me. Excellent stuff. And I'm really looking forward to what these two both do in the rest of the tournament.
I think as well, the more moves you have in your arsenal to win a match with, the more captivating it's going to be. You know, when you've worn out that arsenal, what else have you got? You know, we've seen Victoria Yuzuki start utilizing more and more moves. She's promised more finishing moves. We saw the victory shooting again during this tournament as well. So I think McBride utilizing a flash pin and bringing something like that into her arsenal, just another way to win a match. It adds another dimension to her character as well. And again, it puts Chikugoto over. You know, it does. You know, it took a flash pin from one of the hardest hitters in Marigold to actually put Chikugoto away. So again, yes, Chikugoto isn't going to win this tournament, wasn't going to win this match, but a performance, again, is now being added to an ever-growing catalogue of really good Chikugoto performances. Moving on to the first real shock of the tournaments, and it shouldn't be a shock because I did highlight Misa Matsui as a bracket buster, especially in the Star League, and that's what she's proven to be over these three shows. Misa Matsui gets the win over Miko Aono with the European clutch. And Matt, I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I really enjoyed. These two have really, really, really good chemistry.
Yeah, this was excellent stuff. We had the Superfly fast pace to start, kind of them going back and forth, and Mika really hanging with Misa because that's, you know, she's psycho speed, so that's kind of her bag. Eventually, the match spills out to the floor, and you just think, okay, this is her game. The fighting on the floor, the bending of the breaking of the rules. Then Miko Ano's like, I don't care where I'm in the ring, outside the ring, in the K1 kickboxing dojo. I can use my kicks to isolate anything. So you can see Misa starting to get cocky with herself because he's the arrogant heel here. And then Miko Ano just starts wailing on her kicks, and he's just kicking away at Misa Matsui. But then Miko gets a little bit too far of herself. She goes for the head kick, misses, and hits the post. And that's where we start building the heat. And then we see Misa really starting to take her time, breaking down Miko Ano. And again, I like that psychology to start the match early with Misa using the high-speed style offense, that junior style offense. And then once Miko makes her first mistake, then Misa starts picking her apart and is doing that old school heel stuff. And then Miko has to really fight from behind, showing that fire that we've seen before. So it's really great stuff there. There's a really great combination. You mentioned that flying knee that she has. I like the combination where she hits the missile drop kick and Miko bumps, and she bumps and then sells back up to her knees. And then when she does, by the time she's there, Misa hits the flying knee. So I like that because it's two big bumps, one after another, two really good looking things, one after another. And Miko doesn't have time to react to and able to block or dodge the flying knee because she took the missile drop kick. So I really like that 1-2 combination there. Miko Ano gets the advantage back with that swing slam, and then locks in a cross arm choke. That was excellent stuff. She hits a head kick and a tiger bomb for a 2 count. And then she goes for the 1 second MX, Rob. Little shouts to Nanae Takahashi, the same move that she used to defeat Nanae, which I don't think we've seen since. Then Miko is able to get out and then get the European clutch, shocking everybody for the 3 count. Great match, great storytelling. I really love the finish. I thought the finish was terrific. I thought there was great fire and a great fight back from Miko Ano. Misa really did a great job taking a butt kicking towards the end, hanging in there and just showing, hey, sometimes all it needs is one little mistake and 3 seconds to get the win. And that's what happened here. And that's what's great about tournament wrestling, whether it's the 5-star, the G1, the N1, the Dream Star. It's tournament wrestling. There can always be an upset. And we saw a lot of them here in the Dream Star. And this was one of them. Really great match, 3 3/4 stars for me. And maybe, Rob Goodwin, maybe if Miko Ano does walk out of Sumo Hall as Red Belt champion, maybe this is one rerun back for the Red Belt, because it doesn't take much to really heat up Misa Matsui, especially this new heel persona that she's had over the last handful of months.
No, I agree. I think, like I said, their chemistry worked really well, and Misa Matsui has the ability with that European clutch to pin anyone in that league. And I think, again, she's a safe pair of hands when it comes to title defenses. I think Miko Ano is someone who, if she does win the Crimson Red Belt, will have a fantastic match with anyone, but has proved here that she'll have a fantastic match with Misa. In regards to the 1 second DX that you mentioned, I don't want to see her hit it until the Dream Star final. And again, we are putting all our eggs in the Dream Star going to Miku Ano basket, but I think that's where I want to say I don't mind her teasing it and not managing to hit it, but in the final, it's tried everything, styles clash, the knees, the big boots, all of these different moves, the Miku lock, the 39 lock, all of these things. And then it's the 1 second EX that wins of the tournament. I personally think that's a great parallel.
That's a great story to tell, especially the fact that she went to go use it for the first time since that match.
And ended up losing.
And it bit her. It kind of snake bit her.
Yeah.
And we know that Nanai is a guest trainer at the dojo. So what if we're building like her showing like, hey, how to use it properly, how to build towards it. That's a great shout, buddy. That's a really, really interesting story that she's kind of snake bitten by it. And then eventually we do a story within a story to build towards it using that. That's good stuff, buddy. I like that. I want to see that. I want to see your story.
Thank you, man. I like my story too. Mayu Iwatani versus Maria then next. Again, Maria dominating most of this match with complete ambivalence towards the situation and Mayu in general, which only antagonized Mayu. I think Maria's way of goading people into striking first by just being so apathetic towards them is a really clever heel tactic because it forces mistakes, and we saw that with Mayu as well here. But ultimately, that apathy is a double-edged sword. It can draw people in, but it can also mean you're losing concentration. And arguably, that's how Maria lost this match, because it got her in control of the match because she was able to capitalize on Mayu's anger at basically Maria not taking it seriously. But then Maria not taking it seriously ultimately led to Mayu capitalizing on a mistake and rolling her up with a victory roll.
This match was so good. It was like 5-6 minutes in, and I was like, wow, this is going to be the pace setter. This is going to be the pace setter for the rest of the Dream Star. Mayu coming off arguably the greatest match quality run in the history of the 5-star Grand Prix last year. I was like, wow, this might be her second best match of the year behind the Shuri match from All-Star Grand Queendom. Because that match was just so amazing that I don't know if anything is going to catch up to that. But this was really great. I'm like, what? Big match Mayu, tournament Mayu, of course. Why wouldn't this be amazing? Like, really great stuff. The fast start, then you get the strikes, you're bringing it back down. Maria hits the boot scrape, and then the slingshot double stop. Mayu comes back with a big forearm, super kick German. This is really terrific stuff. And then they do the Ricky Steamboat, Randy Savage finish from WrestleMania 3, which is my second favorite match of all time. I have no problem with it, but I was like, oh man, like this was just really building up to this epic level match. And then it just ended. I still gave it 3 3/4 stars.
You felt about this match how I felt about the Koki Amare and Rhea Sato match.
Yeah, it was just like, whoa, okay. And again, now you're going to be on your toes because you're going to be biting on every roll-up. Look at the match before. Ended in the roll-up, the European clutch. Mm-hmm. But this match ends, as Maria goes a scoop slam and Mayu rolls through with the inside cradle. Again, shout out to Ricky Steamboat and not only Ricky Steamboat, Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair. They used that finish as well. But I was like, man, I thought this was going to go like that 13, 14 minutes. Like this was going to be your first big epic. We always know they're in the 5-star, the Dream Star, the G1, what have you, Rob. There's always like 1 or 2 matches on that night one that it's like, yeah, follow that. Like that's the pace setter. And this was getting there. And then it just ended. And I was like, oh, again, really great stuff. A little over 8 minutes. I wish it would have went 13, 14 minutes because it would have been that epic level match. 3 3/4 stars for me. Really excellent stuff. Again, we don't get to see much of Maria because she doesn't really wrestle in the companies that we cover, Marigold, obviously Stardom, we're doing more stuff on Talk Joshi with Sendai Girls. So it's great to see her in this setting, especially with Mayu. Again, excellent stuff. Maybe I'll just be a little too greedy, Rob. Give it 3-4 minutes, and that would have went to a 3 3/4 star to a 4.5 to 4 3/4 stars because this was really, really cooking. And like I said, partner, then it just ended. And it hurt me. I was hurt.
Like a dagger to the heart.
You know what it was? You know what it was like? It was like that Tomoka Inaba Mayu match from last year, where you're like everybody's circling it. Like, oh my God, Mayu's like Tomoka
like 4 minutes.
Mayu's like Tomoka's finally in the 5-star. She's having great match. I'm like, oh my God, like Mayu's on the. I mean, she's always had a great 5-star, but this is next level. Now we got Tomoka Inaba, and it went like 3 minutes, and you're like, wow, it was good for what we had out there, but maybe we were just getting a little bit too greedy, buddy. That's what this was. It was really good, but I'm like, man, it would have been epic. It really could have been epic.
You mentioned roll-ups being dangerous. Of the 8 matches on this card, or the 8 tournament matches, 5 of them ended in roll-ups. Because you had the Aoki clutch, you had the leg capture inside cradle, the mousetrap, the European clutch, the victory roll, and then the rolling arrow in the main event as well. So they are really establishing those roll-ups as ones to bite on.
And Koki Yamare rolled up Rhea Sato's face with that boot.
She did. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's still going on. Rumor has it. And Kazuna Tanaka is somewhere down there after that Noir Lancer. Jesus. Anyway, semi-main event. Mai Sakurai and Chan Yota running back their United National Championship match from earlier this year. And Chan Yota steamrollering through Mai Sakurai. Now, this was great. This was about as 50-50 as you're going to get. And then Chan Yota just beast mode. And that's what I want to see. That's all I want to see now from Chan Yota, because that beast mode that led to basically her just completely overpowering Mai Sakurai at the end, the modified jackhammer, the pump handle blue thunder bomb that she eventually won the match with, that's what I want to see, where it's such a release of power that you can't quite catch your breath with it, which is why she was able to overpower Mai Sakurai with it. I thought these two, brilliant chemistry, worked really well together. I actually preferred this to their United National title match. I really enjoyed that match as well, but I thought this, because of the shortened time limit, I think it felt a little bit more frantic. Tick, 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 tock, in the words of Metallica. It felt a little bit more frenetic, a little bit more ragged in a good way. But yeah, overall, a great start to the tournament for Chan Yota.
Buddy, I forgot to write down the time. What was the time of this match?
13 minutes exactly.
Wow. So for 13 minutes, these two rode the lightning. See what I did there?
Nice, nice. And to be honest, Chan Yota, I think, has just come into this tournament with the ideology of just kill them all.
Yeah. Not only that, you would say she had extra energy. You would say maybe she had an extra battery with her.
Oh, look at that. We could go all day, ladies and gentlemen. We really could.
I tell you what, Chan Yota hit Mai Sakurai so hard. She hit her so hard until she slept.
Nice. Nice. Like it.
I might have been reaching. All right.
People would argue that Chan Yota might be the one.
She hit her so hard that she was blue and blackened. All right, folks.
People have unsubscribed, and rightly so.
Remember we used to do that years ago at the end of the Stardom pay-per-views? Yes. We might have to bring that back.
Might have to bring it back. Yes, absolutely.
The episodes are long enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Stretch it out. Anywho, back to this match. Yeah, this was great. I totally agree with you. This is my second favorite match of the show. I totally agree with you. As much as I like their Wipeout match from a handful of months ago, I like this one more, but they still told more of a story. It was like, because they're both big hitters, right? So we start off with the forearms, we get a forearm trade off, we get a submission trade off, and then we get like big move after big move. But storytelling, it's not, they weren't doing big moves to do big moves. They were doing it with purpose. There was no wasted motion, like Chan Yota hitting the superplex, which I thought was great. And then Mai Sakurai hits the gourd buster. And then Chan Yota starts to build up her advantage, and she hits the jackhammer, and then she holds on and she hits a couple short lariats. I really like that because, again, Chan Yota, she's preparing for a bodybuilding contest. You can see her shoulders, her arms are jacked. Why wouldn't she throw that weight behind into a short arm lariat to really wear down Mai Sakurai? I thought that was really great stuff. I liked how we did have Mai Sakurai. She starts getting the advantage back again with the boots, the forearm. She goes for the glorious driver. And again, I love how she has adopted that into her arsenal. Chan Yota slips behind, locks her in a rear naked choke. Mai Sakurai is able to get out, locks in the STF for just a brief moment. We get that tease, the shining black tease. You didn't know which way this was going to go, especially the fact that it's just like, I thought Sakurai was going to win this. She's your, United National Champion. She made it to the finals last year, but considering the fact that we're getting upset after upset after upset, I'm like, I don't know which way this is going to go. And the way that Chanyota was built up in this match, it looked like a real monster. And again, as we're getting towards the tail end, I thought Sakurai was going to win, but yet Chanyota was going to get over based on her performance here. And again, you're in the ring with kayfabe, the second best wrestler in your company, because she's holding the second biggest belt. Ultimately, though, Chanyota hits the jackhammer and then a new move we haven't seen her use before, that wrist clutch Lou Thunderbomb, which seems to be her new go-to move, which I'm fine with. 4 stars for me, buddy. I thought this was great. I thought this was a great 1-2 punch to end the show, because I was, as much I like this match, I really love the main event that we're going to talk about. Chanyota, I would not mind seeing this run back. I know that sometimes if you do championship matches too close, like rematches, it doesn't make sense. This makes sense, because as good as their first match was, this one was better, and it makes sense for them to run it back again. Not unless we do the Mirai title change at Grand Destiny, which we think and kind of hoping that we're going for. Regardless, this is great stuff. These two have phenomenal chemistry. Again, 4 stars for me. Really, really great semi-main event, buddy.
Moving on to that main event, Victoria Yuzuki upsetting the champion night 1. This was the shock I hoped we'd have. Tournament wrestling, especially in Japan, is about shocks, and especially on that opening night, you tend to get a big shock. And here it made the most sense for Victoria Yuzuki to roll up Utami. And Mayu, during the primer, paralleled Utami's winning of the 2020 5-star, then going on to win the red belt in Stardom, and then losing her first match in the 5-star Grand Prix the next year to Maika. She's literally mirrored that here. Won the 2024 Dream Star, beat Sari for the title, and then lost her opening match in the 2025 Dream Star to Victoria Yuzuki. And again, this makes perfect sense. We are looking at building new challenges to Utami's belt, because, whatever happens at Grand Destiny in October, you need new challenges for the red belts. Yes, you've got Mayu, absolutely, but I've got a feeling that Marigold want to hold off on that inevitable Mayu red belt match, and rightly so. Mirai's already had a red belt match. Mai Sakurai currently is the white belt champion, might have a red belt match down the line. Miko Aono will have a red belt match when she wins the Dream Star Grand Prix. Absolutely happening. Otherwise, there aren't people queuing up for potential red belt shots. And I think Victoria Yuzuki is a perfect person to begin elevating to those 2 top single title level, because I think, as I mentioned before, she's a great, I don't want to use the term filler defense because I feel like that's insulting, but she's a great person to put in that main event. She's going to have a great match. She's not ready for the title yet, though. However, the more exposure she has in that scene, the more experience she has in that scene, the better it's going to be, the more developed she's going to be when she does inevitably get that Crimson Red Belt.
We say filler defense a lot, and I think maybe we should use step up defense. I think that's more of a positive, because it's a step up for Victoria Yuzuki or whoever. I think maybe we should kind of cut that out and go a little more positive and say step up. Rob, I just had something popped into my mind here. You made mention about the parallels that I said last week with Utami from 2020 and 2021. Utami lost her first match to Maika in 2021, right, when she was red belt champion.
Correct.
Do you think that coming off this Dream Star, that maybe Victoria Yuzuki dyes her hair black and comes out to the old Maika theme? You think that's a possibility? I know it's something that you may want.
If Victoria Yuzuki comes out to Maika's old theme, then I am fully behind Yuzuki. I'm sorry, Utami, you need to drop the belt to Yuzuki if she comes out to Maika's old theme.
Speaking of hairdos, Utami Hayashishita brought back out the red long hair, which means
tournament hair.
Tournament hair, yeah. I mean, Utami's a badass to begin with, and then when you saw that on the press conference a few days before, it was like, yeah, look out, here she comes. That is our Red Queen, Rob Goen. I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen, as you know, and you have, and and everybody else knows, I've seen every Victoria Yuzuki match. She's only been wrestling about 2 years. I've seen every one of her matches. This was my all-time favorite Victoria Yuzuki match. I mentioned before about Mayu and Maria. You need that wow match as your pace setter. This is the pace setter. This was fantastic. Utami's great all the time, but like she really brought out big match Utami. She brought out the Red Queen Utami. She brought out long hair tournament Utami in this match. This was great because you have the Superfly style against the hard-hitting style of Utami. And you saw it mesh really well between the two. Styles make fights. And even though these two kind of have different styles, they make it work for each other. Just really great stuff back and forth. Utami finally gets the first advantage with the torture rack drop for a 2 count. And then I love this, basically the storytelling of Utami trying to hit this German. She tries for it early on in the match. Victoria Yuzuki rolls through and then she hits she rolls through a German suplex attempt with a double stomp and then hits the basement drop kick back to back. I like that. Utami finally gets the advantage back. She hits an air raid crash. She goes for the German suplex the second time. Victoria Yuzuki lands on her feet. And I love this combination that a bomb she hits on our champion. So again, she goes for the German suplex. Victoria Yuzuki lands on her feet. She hits a double stomp, a super kick, and then she hits Utami with a German. So it's like boom, boom. Oh, by the way, you know what you've been trying to hit me with that you won a lot of matches with? I'm going to do it to you in the main event. Like just like the gall of Victoria Yuzuki, like the arrogance of Victoria Yuzuki to do this to the Red Queen. I really like that. And then Utami's like, she's on the back pedal. She's like, holy geez, like I'm getting blown out of the water here. And what does she go to? The good old reliable lariat. Like it doesn't matter how bad Utami's getting beat up, whether she's wrestling somebody bigger than her, faster than her, stronger than her, all of a sudden it just takes boom, one lariat and drops Yuzuki, and that opens up the door for her to finally hit the German suplex. And I thought that was going to be the finish because of the story they were telling. But Yuzuki rallies, she gets out of it. She gets out of the torture rack bomb, and then she hits not one or the hijack bomb. But I like how she goes back to back with the rolling arrows, kicks out, and then she's like, no, I'm going to lock it in again. The fact she hit 3 of them pretty much back to back to back, and they wound up in the middle of the ring, not in the ropes. It's crazy because I mentioned all the time ever since she pretty much been using that move since she debuted, and it's very rare that she ever winds up in the ropes. But for her to do it 3 times after the frantic 11.5-minute match they had, and not once did it look bad, not once did they get caught up in the ropes, just goes to show you, one, just the ring positioning and timing that Yuzuki has, and the fact that Utami knows where she needs to be to make sure that move looks as good as it does. So bravo on these two ladies. This thus far for me is the best match of the tournament. This for me is the best match in Victoria Yuzuki's young career. 4.5 stars. This was absolutely fantastic. And I wouldn't expect anything different from 2 members of King's Journey, Rob Goodwin.
Yes. No, I agree with you. And it's a tactic actually we've seen Azumi use multiple times with the Azumi Sushi to roll through
on
Utami. Yeah. You know, to roll through, use it again once someone kicks out, immediately do it as a surprise. And I think it's a clever tactic that Victoria Yuzuki's used, and it's one that, again, when we get that inevitable rematch for the red belt, I imagine we're going to get the mother of all near falls with it, which is going to be great. Very, very excited for that, Matt. I'm with you 100%. Match of the tournament so far. Fantastic chemistry between the pair. Really, really good. Moving on, then, we move on to, I say night 2. It's actually just the evening show of night 1. Back again at the Edion Arena Osaka number 2. Again, on the 2nd of August. The attendance at this show, massive decrease to just 601 people. It really is an absolutely phenomenal number to do over 1,200 paid on a single day in Edion Arena Osaka. And when you consider that their previous best at the venue was 363, and they've done 614 and 601, or 615 and 601 in the same day, I think is mightily impressive. And it's a 65% increase on the start of last year's tournament. So a really, really fantastic number for Marigold. And again, just tops off what has been 3 months of just increased exponential growth in terms of the attendances. And I know Rossi has come out, I believe, on social media and said that Mayu has been a huge contributing factor to the improved attendances. And I think, you know, that's fair. Mayu is the icon of Joshi Progressive for a reason. However, I think just the returns from injury, having a red belt champion on every show, simple things like that have really begun to click. And overall, I think 2025 Marigold from the very first show in January has been a steady increase, has been steady development. And I think the only real misstep, I would say, was giving Tank a red belt match. But aside from that, I think Marigold has gone from strength to strength since January. And I think these two shows doing 600 plus at a venue where they've never touched 400, and then to get the two biggest Joshi attendances at the Edion Arena Osaka #2 since June 2023 is a phenomenal achievement for them. It really, really is. In terms of the results, then, we had two pre-show tag matches. The first, Komomo Minami and Nagisa Takibana defeated Shino and Yuki Yamazaki, with Komomo Minami rolling up Yuka with the Komo clutch in 7 minutes and 22 seconds. Another roll-up match. Tag team match then, Hummingbird and Minami Yuki. Hummingbird gets a goddamn pinfall victory. Hallelujah. Defeating Megaton and Gigaton. Hummingbird rolling up Megaton with a European clutch in 6 minutes and 5 seconds. All the following matches are Dream Star Grand Prix matches. Star League match, Chanyota moves to 4 points, defeating Kazuna Tanaka, who stays on 0 with an Agata lock in 6 minutes and 5 seconds. Dream League match, Victoria Yuzuki moves to 4 points, defeating Chiaki, who again stays on 0 with the victory, shooting in 8 minutes and 34 seconds. Dream League match, Maria picks up her first win of the tournament, moving to 2 points, defeating Koki Amare, who stays on 2 points with a modified arm breaker in 9 minutes and 39 seconds. In the Star League, I told you, Chika Goto can beat anyone. She moves to 2 points, defeating Misa Matsui, who stays on 2 points with a La Magistral Cradle reversal in 9 minutes and 16 seconds. Dream League, Utami Hayashishita makes up a little bit for the main event of the previous night by moving to 2 points, defeating Ria Sato, who stays on 0 with a German suplex in 6 minutes and 16 seconds. Star League, the United National Champion, gets her tournament underway with a victory over Nagisa Nozaki to move to 2 points. Nozaki also on 2 points. Sakurai submitting Nagisa with the STF in 7 minutes and 2 seconds. Your semi-main event, the Star League match, they just cannot separate these two. Mirai moving to 3 points with a time limit draw against Miku Aono, who also gets her first point of the tournament. 15 minutes, that one went. And then in your main event, perhaps the biggest shock of the tournament, in fact, not maybe, absolutely the biggest shock of the tournament, Dream League match, Seri Yamoka, the super rookie, debuted January 3rd, 2025, moved to 4 points, delivering Mayu Iwatani her first pinfall loss in Marigold with the Aoki clutch in 10 minutes and 50 seconds. Matt, let's talk briefly about these two opening tag matches. Obviously, Nagisa Takibana picking up a victory by way of a Komomo Minami roll-up. But overall, again, a quick, nice opening match.
Yeah, again, these first two matches, you're just getting more people on the show. Like I said before, you get more people acclimated in front of over 600 people and a lot of people probably watching on Wrestle Universe. Really fun stuff. Another roll-up, Rob. I think I'm having hamburgers for dinner, and I don't think I'm going to have it on a roll. I might be sick of roll-ups. No, really, I love seeing Shino. I thought she was terrific. I thought she had really great chemistry with Komomo Minami. I really think that those two wrestlers are wrestlers that Rossi is going to hang his hat on. Pun intended, I guess. I didn't mean to say that, but hey, look at that, because the future is bright for Marigold. 3.25 stars for me, good sir.
Shino at 16 years old is someone who your eye is automatically drawn to in any match she's in. She commands your attention whenever she steps in a ring. And to have that, considering she only debuted in May, isn't on every single show just goes to show the natural talent and the natural levels of charisma that she has. She's going to be something special when she, and obviously disregarding injuries, hoping nothing like that happens. And if she sticks with wrestling and everything, when everything goes according to plan, we could be looking at a generational talent in Shino.
Rob, I know this answer, but I'm gonna throw you a softball. Why is she wrestling full time?
I believe, Matt Turner, because she values her education over wrestling. I know.
God, Dickie Murdoch is shaking and rolling over in his grave. How did look at Rena Hanan and Hina. Ever since they stopped it with the school stuff, they're doing great stuff. Great stuff. Let me, Hina just main evented Cork. Hana just main evented Cork and Hall in front of 1,000 people with the best wrestler in wrestling. You think somebody doing that that's learning arithmetic? No, like get over yourself, school.
Absolutely, and I'm a teacher.
You need to be telling when you should go in, be all ticked off, and be like, you know what? You should quit school and go main event Cork and Hall. Make something of yourself.
Absolutely. Moving on, the Tauntauns coming out on the wrong side of another victory, but Hummingbird picking up a pinfall, a valuable pinfall victory, even if it is only over Megaton. Matt, again, shtick for days. Megaton massively over.
I tell you what, when this match started, I was like, okay, we got Hummingbird on one side, Megaton on the other. Somebody has to win. If Hatman makes a TLD in the
Can you imagine on the pre-show match?
I was going to lose my stuff.
I'd have loved it. I'd have loved the balls for doing that.
I would be like, why can't we get any of these wrestlers get a win here?
Every tournament match only goes 8 minutes because Megaton got a time limit draw in the pre-show.
The pre-show. Fun enough stuff. You're right. Megaton massively over. Good for Hummingbird getting a big win here. 3 stars for me.
The tournament doesn't get much easier for Kazuna Tanaka, who, after being punted to the other side of the planet by a Noir Lancer in the afternoon show, she then got toyed with by Chan Yota before being submitted with the Nagata mat. I am going to double down and just say this is not going to be an easy tournament for Kazuna Tanaka.
No, but Tanaka, she came out full of all P and V, my friend. The bell rings, forearms to Chan Yota, didn't see it coming, and then she baits Chan Yota into throwing like a lariat or a forearm, and then she takes her down the Fujiwara armbar. And Tanaka's really rolling here. She gets her into the triangle choke. Chan Yota is able to channel former UFC light heavyweight champion Quentin Rampage Jackson when she does the Rampage bomb to get out of the triangle choke, and that's pretty much Tanaka's downfall in this match. So it's like Tanaka dominates the first half. Chan Yota uses her strength to get out of, or she uses her strength, her power to get out of Kazuna Tanaka's triangle choke, and then really just waylays her on the end and then submits her with the crossface. Fun enough match. It was kind of 50-50 towards, especially in the middle. And then towards the end, Chan Yota just basically bomb after bomb after bomb, putting away Kazuna Tanaka. 3.25 stars for me.
Yeah, and it's something that I'm going to see every time she wrestles. Whenever she takes these high impact moves, especially on her back, I just see the tape and I'm I really, really hope her back's all right. I mean, we're going to talk about on the Stardom cast, but Lady C at the moment is wrapped up like a mummy at the moment. Again, I just want the wrestlers to be okay. Moving on then, Victoria Yuzuki utilizing that victory, shooting again to get the win over Chiaki. Matt, you said earlier that you've been impressed with Chiaki's tournament. How do you think she covered herself here?
I think, just coming off the top of my head, I think this is her best singles match she's had in her run. As far as her best matches, I think her best matches are teaming with Nagisa or Misa in either 6-person or straight up tags. But as far as singles matches, I think this was her best outing. One, she's understanding who she is in the ring and who she isn't. And then she's been there with Victoria Yuzuki, who, again, coming off the biggest win of her career just a handful of hours earlier. This is great, and it's easy storytelling. Victoria Yuzuki is a great babyface people like to get behind because she's so endearing with the audience, understands crowd psychology, understands selling and certain levels of selling, and Chiaki is one of the only true heels in this company. So you see Yuzuki, she's trying to use the Superfly style early on, and what did Chiaki do to hold her off, Rob? The Iron Claw. Yes, the Iron
Claw.
Claw was back again. She could have done anything. She could have had somebody trip her on the outside, use a chair, but no, she goes to the Iron Claw. But of course, eventually, once Yuzuki starts building up her offense with that high impact style, she does go to some cheating, bending, and breaking the rules, but not in front of the referee, something she's massively improved on the last 7 or 8 months.
Absolutely.
We get to the point where the ref gets bumped here, and then we see Chiaki goes for a chair shot. Victoria Yuzuki ducks the chair shot and then super kicks the chair right into Chiaki's face. My only little nitpick about that is it was a great spot, cool spot, not in front of the referee. Chiaki, the heel, bringing the weapon in, it comes back to bite her. And then Chiaki's back up in like 3 seconds. Like there was next to no selling off that. So you killed the impact of the move. Not only the move, but the spot, because it was built up properly. And then your big exclamation point at the end of the spot was the super kick into the chair spot. And Chiaki gets back up and then just waylays her with the chair. It's like, what? You could have taken a little more time to sell that because you just kind of killed the spot, which was really, really cool. But regardless, with the chair shot there, then Chiaki hits the moonwolf, which that would have finished because again you're cheating. Chair shot, and then Chiaki hits one of her finishers onto Yuzuki. Yuzuki kicks out, and then Yuzuki fires up. She hits some violent kicks to set up that twisting press, also known as the Victoria shooting. 4 stars for me. Again, other than that little nitpick that I had, this was a really, really great match, and I love when Chiaki, Rob, uses the Iron Claw, buddy.
Moving on then, Maria picking up her first 2 points of the tournament, submitting Koki Amare. What do you think of this, Matt?
Maria does a great job with submissions. We really haven't seen much of it. And that Mayu match was more boom, 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 boom. Where here, she's really breaking down the arm of Koki Amare. I mean, she uses the Fujiwara armbar early on in the match and is going to the arm quite a bit when she has the offense. But ultimately, she uses that arm to get the submission win with that modified octopus. Koki is on the back foot on most of this match. And when she fires up, like you get the good sympathy babyface selling from her. Again, Maria is playing the role of a heel, bending and breaking the rules, really being over cocky and confident, and really giving the crowd heat and giving them something to boo and Koki Amare something to cheer, which ultimately that's what you want. You want that really good crowd psychology. So when Koki makes her comeback, the crowd's really invested in it. I mean, really great stuff. You're feeling bad for her because, boy, she's getting blown out of the water early on. Maria's doing a great job targeting her arm. Anytime Koki tries to make her comeback, Maria goes right back to that arm, again, showing the veteran awareness that she is. Koki hits a big belly-to-belly suplex for a 2 count. We get a top rope fight between the two, and then Maria locks in the octopus. While they're on the top rope, we get some near falsies towards the end, then goes back to the octopus in a spot where she can actually get a legal win, which I like that because she's in the ropes, but it was a really cool spot. And then taps her out here. Really great stuff. 9 minutes. I would love to see these go 13, 14 minutes because they have different styles, but it made sense. They really got a lot out of this match. 3 3/4 stars. I thought this was a great showing for both Maria and Koki Amare.
We move on to Chika Goto and Misa Matsui. Misa Matsui using the underhanded tactics, going for another one of those roll-ups that proved so effective on night 1. And Chika Goto literally went, nah, and just rolled it back. Loved that. And secured that first victory of the tournament. Actually, as well, I've just thought, revenge for last year's tournament.
Look at you, buddy. Look at you. You know what this match was? Shout out to the late, great Ozzy Osbourne, one of his albums. This match was No Rest for the Wicked. Because this match starts off, it's like Chika's trying to get something going. Misa's like, no, we're going to the outside. We're going to the outside. And then when they're eating chairs, you get the big brawl. This one's all over the place. Misa's going in there, flying knee, uses the double stomp from the second, uses the double stomp from the top. Chika Goto comes back with the kicks, the lariats, the forearms, the giant swing. I mean, it just bomb after bomb after bomb. But again, it's not for the sake of just doing moves because it looks cool. It has purpose. There's no wasted motion with these two. And the fact that Misa and Chika, they know how to do that this early in their careers is really saying something. Because you see all the people, there's a lot of wrestlers, especially on the indies, that do the flips and the flops. And that's all great. But like, what's the purpose? What's the meaning of it? It's cool that you can do it. But what story are you telling other than the fact that you're really athletic? Like, put a story behind it, and then you can get the most out of it. And that's what these two do. I liked how Chikagoto, again, we do see Goto blocks the flying knee and hits a big lariat. I like that because we don't see a lot of people blocking, as you call it, buddy, the best flying knee in wrestling, but she's able to block that and hit a big lariat. And there's a huge bunch. She hits it really hard, and Misa sells it really well. She takes the big bump. Goto hits a choke slam, or she goes for the choke slam, but Misa goes for the roll up. But then Chikagoto's like, I'm going to outsmart you, at least for these 3 seconds. Again, very much like Misa's match early on in the day. It looked like Miko Ano had her. Misa just was able to outsmart her for 3 seconds. And basically the same tactic that Misa used to get her first 2 points has her eat her first L in this one, where Chikagoto is just able to outsmart her just for 3 seconds, shifts the weight, and gets a win with a modified roll-up. 3 3/4 stars. I thought this was absolutely terrific. A really, really great outing for both Chikagoto and Misa Matsui. This match really stood out for me because it was something different, but made sense from these two. This was really one of the standout matches for me in these on this packed first day / night, not slash and day plus night from Marigold's first venture here.
I think as well, it was different to the match she just had with Mirai. You know, that was more two behemoths sort of going at it, whereas this, it's a completely different ball game when you're trying to wrestle someone who is as quick as Misa Matsui is. And I think she actually took the fight really, really well. And again, that's what we're going to see from Chikagoto in this tournament, which I'm very excited about. Matt, again, Rhea Sato bought out the book. She telegraphed that she was going to target Utami's arm. And for 4 of those 6 minutes, she was on top of the champion, wrenching on that arm, and then lost. Utami, too strong, too powerful. Sorry, Rhea.
She should have targeted the hair, because, again, it's big match Utami hair. Maybe that's what it would have been.
That's where she holds all of her power.
That, and then they could have booked Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Come on, Beefy, he needs bookings. Can you imagine him and Marigold as, like, you know, whoever Utami's wrestling as the haircut guy? Come on, right? Anywho,
printing money.
Absolutely, a lot of stuff on printing. Rhea gets the jump on Utami. She starts to, you know, really build the offense on Utami. Utami's like, I'm stronger than you. I'm wrestling longer than you. I know this game. It just overpowers Rhea. But then Rhea goes to that arm. I like how she gets out of the torture rack bomb and does like a standing armbar. Like, I've never seen that before. And the way Utami's selling it, she looks like she's in a lot of pain. And Utami does a great job getting Rhea over here. This is Rhea, in my opinion, her best outing since the heel turn. I thought even though she ate a loss here, she looked really dominant on your World of Marigold champion. We mention it all the time, Rob. I'm going to mention here it again. Utami does a great job taking somebody on the mid card and making it look like they can hang and beat the world champion. And that's what, as you said, buddy, for 4 of these 6 minutes, that's what it looked like. And Utami is so good, and she knows how to protect herself and make her opponent look good. Though, even though like this was like a 70-30 match, with Rhea getting like 70% of the offense, all it really took was Utami hitting a judo throw and a lariat to open up that door for that stalling German suplex. Again, the German suplex that she tried to hit so many times on Yuzuki, but it was able to really hit it here in the proper way and to put away Rhea Sato. Again, a really great match. My opinion, Utami Hayashishita giving Victoria Yuzuki the best match of her young career early on in the day, and probably the best match in Rhea Sato's career in this one. 4 stars for me. Excellent stuff.
It's definitely Rhea's. Oh, sorry, go on.
I'm sorry. I would just wish it would have went a little bit more than 6 minutes, but still really excellent stuff.
I certainly think it's Rhea Sato's most complete performance since being a heel. And we've seen her take it to Utami, especially on sort of house show main events before the turn. We've seen her utilize that arm-based submission. It really is sort of Rhea's bread and butter at the moment. And I think the more she focuses on that, the more she focuses on that submission game as a whole, she's going to be a dangerous, dangerous proposition moving forward. Moving on then, Mai Sakurai and Nagisa Nozaki. We mentioned in the primer that Mai Sakurai is running some sort of a rogues gallery of previous white belt defenses during this tournament. Already came up on the losing end against Chan Yota. She was not going to do the same here against Nagisa Nozaki, not only beating Nagisa Nozaki, but submitting Nagisa Nozaki with the STF mat.
Yeah, and they did instead of the tap out, it was a pass out. So you're keeping Nagisa, even in a heel roll, you're keeping her strong because she didn't tap out. she passed out from the STK into the STF. So I really like that. This was like a more condensed version of their white belt match that they had a handful of months ago. I mean, the bell rings and these two are just like shotgun out of a cannon, especially Nagisa hitting the drop kick, brawling with Mai Sakurai, having your United National Champion really on the back foot for some of the match, which goes to show you what a great underneath wrestler Mai Sakurai can be, which is ultimately what you want from your champion, especially a babyface champion, showing that they can take a butt kicking, getting their opponent over, ultimately then being able to rally back, get the crowd behind them to rally back to get the win. So this match was bowling shoe ugly in the best way possible. It was hard hitting, right up my alley, really great stuff. Really not much bending or breaking in the rules from Nagisa, which I don't mind because we did see quite a bit of that with Misa and Chiaki in the previous matches. But ultimately, though, it's Nagisa. She's a pair of Nora Lancers that doesn't put Mai Sakurai down. Mai Sakurai is able to hit a big running boot that opens up the door for the Glorious Driver and then into the STF for the tap out. 3 3/4 stars for me, my friend. This was great, hard-hitting action right up my alley, ending with the submission.
Yeah, sort of looking back on Nagisa Nozaki's singles catalog in Marigold, aside from that Mirai match that went to the double countout when Chiaki got involved, I don't really feel like she cheats that much in her singles matches. Sure, she does when she's in tag team matches, but looking back, if she does cheat, it's very minimal.
Yeah, it's nowhere near as much as Chiaki, and even Bozilla, you know, from when Bozilla was there. Yeah, you're right. Obviously, with the tag team stuff, it's easier to cheat because you have more people there to distract the referee, and you can get more heat, and then you're drawing out the hot tag. So it's more of a psychology thing there. But yeah, now that I think about it, partner, you're right. It's very minimal that she does it.
Moving on to the semi-main event, two people who are destined to do this forever, in the words of Batman and the Joker. Mirai and Miku Ano going to another time limit draw. Matt, where does this stand for you in the pantheon of great Miku Ano and Mirai draws? Because let's not forget that feud between the pair was a huge part of the summer of 2024. These two absolutely battered each other for the majority of those summer months and gave us some of Marigold's early best matches.
Yeah, maybe I'm going to answer your question. Maybe because those matches last year, the bar was set so high. This is easily dead last. This didn't do it for me. I was so excited for this match, and about 8-9 minutes in, I'm sorry to say this because I love both these wrestlers. I was kind of bored. This just didn't do it for me. 3.5 stars was just still a good rating for me, but it just seemed like there was knee work. It was slow. There was no really huge intensity between the two. There was no, as you're counting down towards the end, there was no what's the word I'm looking for? Really like true aggression to try to get
intensity.
Yeah, to try to get those 2 points. They weren't like frantic like how they were in their time limit draws that they had last year. Like, oh, it's counting down. We got to get there. We got to get there. It was like, maybe we'll eventually get there. We'll kind of get there when we get there. And then it just kind of ended. Again, it was solid stuff, a good match, but their matches from last year set the bar so high that this, to me, Rob, I hate to say it, but this was kind of a disappointment. Again, 3.5 stars for me. Am I off kilter on that one? Again, I'm a very positive person. I love this tournament. I love Marigold. I'm a big fan of both of these wrestlers. Miku Ano is for wrestlers that I didn't see. I have never seen a match from hers until Marigold. She's one of my favorite wrestlers in all of wrestling. Obviously, massive fan of Mirai. But to me, this just kind of left me kind of going, huh, okay, let's get on to the next one, I guess.
I wasn't as disappointed as you were. However, I do agree that it is the weakest of their matches. I think that speaks to the strength of their previous matches, as opposed to it being an overly negative on this. But I do agree that there was a noticeable lack of intensity.
Sense of urgency. That's what I was looking for. Sense of urgency. As you're counting down, there was no sense of urgency that we saw in all those other draws. And I remember because a lot of those draws we didn't see live because they were VOD, and you'd read, oh, wow, another draw. okay, like, you know, we'll watch it. And I'm like, oh my God, it was so great. Like, give me another one. Give me another one. Give me another one. Like, there was no sense of urgency in those last like 3 or 4 minutes. That kind of took me out.
There was almost a sense of resignation that,
Yes.
okay, this is probably going to a time limit draw. Let's just make sure we don't lose. Which was a shame. Like, the stuff that happened, as you said, was good. I know that these two, well, we all know that these two have got better matches in them because we've seen it. And I think that's part of the problem. It's a shame. It's one that I imagine we will probably run back for the red belt, potentially a little bit further down the line, and they will really be untethered then, I imagine. But yes, I'd say it's probably, if not at the bottom, near the bottom of the matches that they've had together. And again, I just want to echo, that's more of a compliment of the greatness of the matches that they had last year, of that great series of matches they had last year as the during the quest for the United National title, as opposed to anything else. Moving on then to the main event. And Matt, I'd convinced myself. During our primer, I'd convinced myself, do you know what? Mayu Iwatani is going through this tournament unbeaten, and then she's going to lose in the final to whoever, probably Miko Ano. That lasted precisely one show before she got rolled up by Seri Yamaoka. This is huge for Seri Yamaoka. Like, this match was fantastic. This match was my second favorite match of the entire 2 shows. Between this and the main event of night 1, Utami and Victoria Yuzuki, I thought this was fantastic. I thought these two had really good chemistry. I think Seri surprising Mayu with the Aoki clutch plays on the complacency, or what I like to call dickhead Mayu, where Mayu will occasionally look past an opponent. She will occasionally indulge her worst parts in thinking that she is the best, which she is, but then she will occasionally get rolled up. And that's exactly what happened here. Seri Yamaoka was just slightly more on the ball than Mayu was, which is mad to say out loud. This is huge for Seri. To be the first person to pin Mayu Iwatani in a new company is a huge thing. And we knew that wasn't something they were just going to dish out to anyone. You know, it wasn't going to be Chiaki on a house show in Kanagawa. You know, there was going to be a reason to do it. And you look at the top of the block of Dream League, admittedly 2 shows in, top of the block of Victoria Yuzuki and Seri Yamaoka, your future of Marigold. What a rub for Seri Yamaoka.
Not only that, Robbie, you had over 1,200 tickets sold in a 24-hour period in the same building. And what's the last thing you see? Seri with her hand raised over a fallen Mayu. And it's not just the Aoki clutch. It'd be one thing if she got rolled up. Well, that was the finish, but she had 3 wicked German suplexes back to back.
Vicious. And Mayu did. I'm sorry to interrupt. Mayu,
no, you're good, buddy.
You spoke about how Utami is always giving, and you mentioned it in Ryoseito. Mayu gave Seri so much in this, but again, it works so well because Mayu will occasionally just get inside her own head.
Yeah. And the match, the psychology made sense. Like, Seri goes in for the double leg right off, and like Mayu's like, whoa, like I can't, like this might be the best amateur wrestler that she's ever been in the ring with, right? Because I don't know if there's, you know, I don't think she's ever had a singles match with Chihiro Hashimoto, but you know what I mean. So then she's just like, okay, let me go back to pro wrestling to slow this excited rookie down. Uses a headlock.
Tank.
Yeah, uses a headlock, grinds her down, starts using some strikes, and then Seri's kind of on the back foot because she's getting battered from Mayu. What does Seri do? She goes to Mayu's ribs, which we know are injured. So then she grinds her down there. I thought that was great stuff. Seri hits a big frog splash for a 2 count. Mayu comes back with a super kick that opens up the door for the wicked basement drop kick that she does. And then Mayu goes for the German suplex. Seri's able to escape that, gets the Aoki clutch there for a 2 count. So we're building towards that move. Eventually, though, Mayu hits a German suplex, and then Seri's able to fire back up. She hits, again, 3 wicked German suplexes that leads in the Aoki lock. And again, if you've ever landed on your head, or you land on your head 3 times and that short of a span, that for you then to get rolled up on a leverage move, the finish was genius and it made sense. And the fact that it went 10 minutes, again, main event, I wish it went longer, but the finish made sense where it's just like Sari can literally overpower you and beat you at any moment. And that's what happened here. 3 wicked German suplexes in the Aoki clutch for the 3 count, 3 3/4 stars. I thought this was terrific. I thought that the psychology of this match was genius, and that finish was just absolutely top notch. And you're right, buddy. That Sari Yamaoka not only defeating Mayu and Mayu's first L in Marigold, but like I said a few minutes ago, she is the last thing that people see in a venue that they sold to 1,200 tickets to. So it's a double, thumbs up from Sari there. And she was great. She was great in the first night. She was great in this night. Big things are afoot for one Sari Yamaoka. And one thing that is not a big thing, Rob Goodwin, is our predictions. Because boy, howdy, we sucked.
We really did. Looking back at predictions, I don't think, apart from ironically, the Victoria Yuzuki and Utami one, I don't think I got a single one right. So there we are. Never mind. But yeah, this was a fantastic show. The fact that Sari was let in by Mayu, and the closing stretch was just brutal.
Yeah,
it really, really was. But again, I love watching Mayu Iwatani matches for a multitude of reasons. But because sometimes, again, as I mentioned before, she believes her own hype and she will make those mistakes because she's complacent. And with someone who is full of such raw passion and raw aggression, for lack of a better phrase, like Sari is, like you saw how she went out of the blocks straight away, straight for the double leg. I thought these two worked really well, and there's some match that I want to see go 15, 16, 17, 18 minutes, definitely. One final show, ladies and gentlemen, because Marigold then ran the Prefectural Industrial Exhibition Hall in Hiroshima the day after on the 3rd of August. Just 2 Dream Star matches on this card. The announced attendance inside the Hiroshima Industrial Hall East Exhibition Hall was 285 people. It's only the second time the company have run the venue and indeed the prefecture of Hiroshima as a whole, with this being a small 8-person decrease from the only previous time, which was back in August of 2024 when they drew 293 people. In terms of the results, a far smaller card, with this only having 2 Dream Star matches on their 3-way match. Hummingbird picking up back-to-back pinfall victories. When was the last time this happened? She defeated Nagisa Takibana and now Ishikawa, pinning Nagisa Takibana with a leg roll clutch hold in 6 minutes. Tag team match, the Darkness Revolution team of Nagisa Nozaki and Rhea Sato defeated Koki Amare and Megaton. Nagisa Nozaki submitting Megaton with a Dragon Sleeper in 9 minutes and 7 seconds. Dream Star match, Star League this time. Misa Matsui moving to 4 points, defeating Chan Yota, who remains on 4 points, with that dreaded European clutch in 9 minutes and 27 seconds. 6-woman tag match, Mirai Victoria Yuzuki and I've written Mirai Victoria Yuzuki and Zelene Flora. That's supposed to be Kazuna Tanaka. Defeated Mai Sakurai, Chikakoto, Minami Yuki. Again, Victoria Yuzuki utilizing that victory shooting in 12 minutes and 8 seconds. Another Dream Star match, Dream League this time. Utami Hayashishita moves to 4 points, defeating Chiaki, who stays on 0, with a torture rack bomb in 7 minutes and 27 seconds. And then in your main event, 6-woman tag team match, Mayu Iwatani, Shino, and Seri Yamaoka defeated Miko Ano, Kamomo Minami, and Yuki Yamazaki, with Seri Yamaoka pinning Kamomo Minami with the Aoki clutch in 17 minutes and 18 seconds. Let's talk about the opener then, Matt. Another victory for Hummingbird. Back-to-back victories for Hummingbird. Again, when was the last time we saw the Mummy Bird, as I erroneously called her last week for some reason, get 2 back-to-back pinfall victories?
I don't know. I don't want to jinx it. Because last time we got on the high horse, I think she lost like 6 in a row. The match was really good. It was very intense, very fast paced. It was like boom, 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 boom. It was nonstop. Really great action. The crowd really ate it up. A great way to start off this show, because it's literally, you got the crowd on their, not on their feet, but like you had them talking, you had them moving because of the great action between Nagisa, Hummingbird, and now Ishikawa. These three worked really well to with each other with a really great and strong finish. I had it 3.5 stars. I thought this was a really solid opener. Because again, I say all the time, three-ways are tough to do, especially these three ladies have kind of different styles, but they really made it work, and they understood where they needed to get the crowd to open up this show.
Moving on to the tag team match, and I don't think this is fair because Darkness Revolution know that Megaton can't deal with submissions. So I don't feel like they should be allowed to use them because it's not fair. The moment that Megaton is locked in the dragon sleep, she submitted in this match. I don't even think Nagisa Nozaki got it in properly.
No, I had to rewind it. I was like, what the hell is that?
By the time Megaton was just like, nah, I'm piecing out of this. I do not want any part of this dragon sleeper. But yeah, overall, more heat on Megaton. Darkness Revolution continuing to torture the poor woman. And Koki Amare, unfortunately, being an innocent bystander in all of this.
Yeah, it really seems like it. Again, Megaton crazy over in this match. Your storytelling was simple. You know, Megaton gets in, she gets over with the crowd. We get some teamwork. They cut the ring off. Koki Amare comes in. Koki kind of plays the hits. Eventually, because Nagisa and Rhea, they are a tag team. They're in the Darkness Revolution Army. We're going to do some teamwork to take out Koki, who's the heavy hitter. And then Nagisa Nozaki locks in a half of a dragon sleeper. Let's just call it that for the finish. 3 stars for me, partner.
Dream Star action then. Misa Matsui managing to halt the charge of Chan Yota, managing to roll her up with the European clutch. And what I love about Misa Matsui, when she locks in a European clutch and she knows she's going to win with it, she has got such a condescending grin on her face when she does it. It's great. It must be infuriating for the person taking it. But we talked about Misa Matsui and Miko Ano having great chemistry on night one. I thought these two had really good chemistry as well. I really enjoyed this match.
Yeah, it's power versus speed. You know what you were going to get. But what I really liked is like how Misa, she's a strategist as well, because she used that psycho speed to bait Chan Yota early on into throwing that inapparent forearm that catches her into a Fujiwara armbar. So I really like that. I thought that was great. Misa does a lot of counter wrestling here. Again, really showing that there's a method behind her madness, which I really liked. Eventually, Chan Yota's able to slow down Misa, hits a backbreaker, hits a torture rack. Really great stuff. Chan Yota then hits a second rope shoulder tackle. That scores her a 2 count. Misa Matsui comes back with a Quesadora double stomp. We've seen her use that quite a bit, especially as a counter move. That scores her a 2 count. We get some back and forth stuff, and then Chan Yota hits the jackhammer for a 2 count, but then Misa is able to kind of roll through and then use the European clutch to shock Chan Yota. I like the shocking finish there. Again, showing that in this tournament, Rob, anybody can win and or lose a match at any time. Misa getting the surprise win towards the end, especially when like Chan Yota was really starting to build up her power offense and starting to slow down and break down Misa. Misa's just able, very much like in that Miko Ano match, Misa's able to find just that 1 second that she needs to lock in that European clutch. 3.5 stars for me. Really solid stuff.
We move on then to a 6-woman tag. The apparently rechristened Kazuna Tanaka as Zelene Flora. But Victoria Yuzuki again utilizing that victory shooting mat. Probably the best she's actually connected with it on Minami Yuki here. What was your thought on this match?
This was really good. I mean, this kind of broke down for me almost into 2 different matches. You had a singles match between the 2 big stars on the team, Mirai and Mai Sakurai, and then you had a tag match with, I mentioned before, a tag match I would love to see more than once, with Minami Yuki and Chika Goda versus Zelene Flora, Victoria Yuzuki, and Kazuna Tanaka. It was nice seeing Kazuna Tanaka. She's had a rough handful of days in Marigold. Just getting whooped. But again, her and Victoria Yuzuki, I think it's the best utilization of the 2 right now in their career as a tag team, and having Mirai kind of being the front runner of this team going in. I thought that was terrific. Chika Godo and Kazuna Tanaka, hard hitting, right up my alley. And ultimately it ends with some great teamwork that opens up to that twisting press, also known as the Victoria shooting, for the 3 count. I had this at 3 3/4 stars. This was one of my favorite matches of this show.
Obviously, we know that Mai Sakurai and Mirai are going to square off in the course of this tournament in Korakuen Hall. Are you still of the opinion, having watched their little exchange here, that Mirai is walking out the winner of that match?
Yeah, because you need to build towards that white belt match that I think we all think. But then again, no one, considering how awesome our predictions have been, who knows what happens? It's going to be Mai Sakurai defending against Bailey.
Let us not forget that we were like, oh, Mayu Utani's going to get through the tournament completely unbeaten, and then got absolutely pummeled at the end of that match by Erina Yamanaka. So
we said the same thing with Sari for the 5-star, and she gets choked out. And she gets choked out in night one. So I don't. It's the curse of the IWGP Championship. So let's see what happens with. Let's see what happens with Kyrie, Mercedes Moné, and Sherry, I guess.
Moving on, then Utami versus Chiaki. Chiaki's shortest match of the tournament so far. Unsurprising result in, especially seeing as Utami dropped her first match to Victoria Yuzuki. Chiaki 0-3, but another good performance from Chiaki, even if ultimately it was in vain.
This was my favorite match of the show. I thought this was great. This is exactly what I thought it was going to be. Number one, Utami taking somebody in the middle of the card and making it look like that they can beat the world champion. Chiaki knowing she's got to bend and break the rules and not do it in front of the ref in order to not only get her first 2 points, but try to get her first 2 points against the best wrestler in the company because she is holding the richest prize in Marigold. So Chiaki, she knows that she has to have a sense of urgency. She gets the jump on Utami. We get a wild brawl between the two on the floor. I mean, this thing is all over the place in the best way possible. Once Utami gets the advantage, Chiaki panics. We get a referee bump. We get a chair shot. That scores her a 2 count. She goes for another chair shot. Utami ducks. She hits this great German suplex, which is a really cool visual. And these two just start dropping bomb after bomb after bomb. But eventually, Utami hitting this forearm that I literally had to hit the rewind button, which is one of the many things I like about Wrestle Universe, Rob. You can hit that minus 10 seconds and it rewinds it 10 seconds because the thud that made, Utami laid that in. Chiaki is basically almost knocked out, and then she hits the torture rack bomb, which is almost a formality at this point for the 3 count, 3 3/4 stars. Again, Utami taking another wrestler in this tournament, giving her one of her best performances of her career. And then again, Chiaki doing a great job, very much like a Yuzuki and a Rhea Sato a few days earlier, rising up to the challenge. And even though eating a loss, looking like she can defeat the world champion.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's probably Chiaki's best performance. Again, one that we didn't really assume she was going to win. It'll be interesting to see where she does pick up a win. If she does pick up a win, because the only person that I can really think she will pick up a win is against Rhea Sato. But then again, the cheating, as we've mentioned, might well pay dividends in matches later down the line. Main event time then, 6-woman tag, Mayu, Yamanaka, and Shino against Miku Arakomomo, Minami, and Yuki Yamazaki. Matt, we need to have a chat because Mayu, there seems to be an issue with Mayu seeing buses and jumping from them. Now, this was fine when it was just Mayu doing it. However, and there have been good things, Mayu is certainly rubbing off on Komomo Minami. However, on this show, we saw why that's not necessarily a good thing, because not only did Mayu take flight from the bus, but so did Komomo Minami. Reckless.
You know, yes, she's poisoning the youth, buddy.
She is.
Yes, she's poisoning the youth.
She is indeed.
Leading them down I would say a dark path, but maybe my second Aussie reference, flying high again path. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah. Now, Rob, I'll say this. Again, Mayu's first 2 matches of the Dream Star were really good. A little bit on the short end for me. So my train of thought was maybe she's not 100% from the rib injury. And then she's jumping off a bus. I was like, okay, You know, like, hey,
It's
what?
Mayu doing Mayu thing, sure.
Yeah. We'll get to that spot in a moment because obviously that was the crazy stuff that eventually, you always want to end your match on your high spot. Or if your high spot is somewhere across from the ring, after you hit that, you get in the ring and you take it home because you're not, at the highest point of the match. Obviously, the cool thing about this match is the double bust dive. When it comes to in-ring stuff, the best part of this match was Miko Ano versus Mayu, your Dream Star final, or at least so we thought. Who knows? At this point, it's going to be Sarah Yamaoka and Nagisa Nozaki again.
Yeah, sure. Can't see why not at this point.
I do want to highlight how great Shino and Yamazaki are in this match because they were fantastic, like instant chemistry, considering Shino's only 16 years old and Yamazaki's only been wrestling like 4 or 5 months. I thought they were terrific here. Obviously, Sarah Yamaoka, we mention all the time, she's a rookie, but wrestles like she's 4 or 5 years in. She wrestles like a vet in this match. Again, a really great stuff. Miko Ano and Mayu giving us just a little bit of a taste of what we may or may not see in the Dream Star final. Just bomb after bomb. Really great stuff. Great selling. Them putting each other over in their striking. And then the match goes all over the place. We go to the outside. The next thing you know, you look up. I look up after taking a note. I'm like, oh, Mayu's on top of the bus. I guess that whole, there's only one way to go. She's not going to climb up the bus just to climb back down. As funny as Mayu is, that's not going to happen. So I'm like, yeah, that rib injury, I was kind of thinking in my head that's why her matches were a little bit short on the short side. Probably, no, she's probably fine. So then she does the dive. And then Kamomo Manami's like, hey, guess what? I'm going to do a dive, which I think was really interesting because, again, we've seen Mayu doing the dives off the Stardom bus, and usually it's just that's it. But the fact that Kamomo Manami did the dive after Mayu. Now, I get it, like Mayu instigated the dive, but the fact that we were putting this match together, that Mayu okayed that, because I'm assuming Mayu probably put some of this stuff together. We mentioned it before, considering the fact that she didn't qualify for the Dream Star, Rob, that we think that this, after the Dream Star going into next year, there's going to be big plans for Kamomo Manami. And the fact that she's now diving off buses on random house shows, that really proves my point. Ultimately, we get back into the ring after just the insane stuff, and we do see Sarah Yamaoka hitting a top rope splash, and then the Aokoya lock onto Kamomo Manami for the win. 3 3/4 stars for me.
It's funny you should say about the influence of Mayu on Kamomo Minami and the big things coming for Minami. Fuka put out a tweet not long ago about the similarities she could see between Kamomo Minami and Mayu in the early stages of her Stardom career.
Oh, no.
And obviously, well, yeah, quite. Well, quite, yes. When Kamomo Minami starts sleeping in and missing shows, then yeah, we can start talking. Wanting to quit in 2016 because she wanted to become a pet groomer. Legit. But for Fuka to say that, and obviously Fuka sees a lot more than we do as a paying audience, I think that's a huge feather in Kamomo Minami's cap, and something that, if that continues, I think they have got their eye on something special for Kamomo Minami. Obviously, at the moment she is still a rookie, but there is plenty of room for growth there, certainly. Again, you look at the person that debuted, look at Summer Destiny in 2024, where she had a match with Rhea Sato and the communication was off. It was not a good match. And you look at both women now, the progress that both women have made, but Kamomo Minami, especially considering the long layoff she had with injury, I think it really speaks to her natural talent. And the speed at which she's picked things up is really quite breathtaking. So I'm looking for it. I would, if it was mine to put on, and considering the predictions I've made, I wouldn't, but I would put my mortgage on Kamomo Minami being the next year's Dream Star.
Yeah, don't put your mortgage on it just yet, buddy. We're let's at least get some momentum going. Let's try to get a few things right.
Let's try and get a single prediction first before I try and remortgage my own house. Ladies and gentlemen, Marigold at the moment. Actually, I'm just going to go through the points whilst I think about it. In terms of Dream League, sitting at the top of Victoria Yuzuki and Sarah Yamaoka with 4 points. Just behind them, having wrestled one match more, is Utami Hayashishita, who sits on 4 points, 2 wins, 1 loss. You've then got Mayu Iwatani, Koki Amare, and Maria, all who sit on 2 points, 1 and 1. And then, unfortunately, Darkness Revolution, not a good time to be the Darkness Revolution in Dream League, both having lost all their matches. Ria Sato 0-2, Chiaki 0-3. Star League looks a little bit different. Chan Yota and Misa Matsui both sitting atop the block, both having won 2 matches and lost 1 match to sit on 4 points. Mirai, 1 win, 1 draw, is currently on 3 points. We've then got Nagisa Nozaki, Chika Goto, and Mai Sakurai, all who've won 1, lost 1 on 2 points. Mika Wano, who, of course, me and Matt have both tipped to win the tournament, second bottom of the block with 1 point. So it's a good start from us.
We got to rally, baby. We got to rally underneath babyface. What do I always point to? Julie in 2022, dropping your first 2 ones and then winning, I think, like 7 or 8 matches in a row with all different moves, by the way. So we're going to rally behind Miko Ano. Let's get the Miko Ano rally caps going, buddy.
Miku. She's on 1 point, and then holding up the block, again, as we say on this podcast, she's got to be the strongest person in the block because she's holding everyone else up. Kazuna Tanaka, 2 losses, 0 points. Rest of this weekend, then, Marigold are running a show on the 9th of August and on the 10th of August as well. The 9th of August will see the company in Iwate, which, of course, is Mirai's hometown. Couple of Dream Star matches on this card, but we are mainly going to talk about Mirai's homecoming match. Singles match between Hummingbird and Nagisa Takibana. Seriyamoka and Shino will take on Nao Ishikawa and Megaton in tag team action, though that could be Gigaton, who knows. Dream League match, Koki Amare versus Chiaki. Can Chiaki break that unfortunate record she's got at the moment? Star League, another return, of a white belt challenger for Mai Sakurai as she takes on Chika Goto in the Star League. 6-woman tag, Utami Hayashishita, Komomo Minami, and Minami Yuki will take on the team of Mika Wano, Kazuna Tanaka, and Yuka Yamazaki. And then in your main event, Mayu Iwatani, Victoria Yuzuki, and Mirai will take on the Darkness Revolution team of Nagisa Nozaki, Misa Matsui, and Ria Sato for the Mirai homecoming match. Matt, what do you think about that card coming up on Saturday?
Another really fun one, and I wonder if Ria Sato is going to come out with a death note and then target Mirai's arm. And she's like, okay, go after the arm. And then as she goes for it, Mirai just lariats her in the face in 45 seconds, and that's the finish. But no, really, really solid stuff. It's really nice to see Mirai team and Victoria Yuzuki, the future of this company. Mayu Iwatani, again, probably the greatest in-ring women's wrestler of all time, to take on the big heel team. So that's going to be a really cool and yet really easy story to tell, and especially with Misa and Victoria Yuzuki, we know they have great chemistry. We also know that Nagisa Nozaki and Mirai are going to hit each other really, really hard. So a solid card with a really, what I'm assuming is going to be a really great main event with that Mirai homecoming match.
Final question before I run through the card on the 10th. Does Chika Goto beat Mai Sakurai?
No. But what does that tell you? Flip a coin, not my predictions. Time will tell.
Absolutely. Whereas before, last year, I'd have said 100% Mai Sakurai's winning. It's only a 75% chance this year. So, again, progress.
And there's only a 20% chance of that happening.
Exactly.
Steiner math.
I can't remember if I said, but it's coming from the Miyako City Sea Arena in Iwate, that show. We've then going to the 10th, as I've just skipped ahead to gaze at Julia, apparently. The 10th of August will come from Sendai Pit. Couple more tournament matches. Tag team match opens the show. Yuki Yamazaki and Nagisa Takibana versus Nao Ishikawa and Hummingbird. We've then got a 3-way match. Mirai versus Megaton versus Chiaki. We've then got tournament matches. Star League, Mai Sakurai versus Misa Matsui. 4 consecutive white belt matches she's had against these opponents. That's going to be a really tricky one for Mai Sakurai. Dream League, Victoria Yuzuki against Erina Yamanaka. That is one to be circled, ladies and gentlemen. Mayu Iwatani will take on Rhea Sato in Dream League. And then if you enjoy big hoss battles, Star League has you covered. Chanyota versus Nagisa Nozaki. That's going to be fun. Your main event, 8-woman tag, Utami Hayashishita, Shino, Kazuna Tanaka, and Kamoma Minami will take on Miko Ano, Koki Amare, Chika Goto, and Minami Yuki.
Rob, here's your question. What does Rhea Sato have written in the death note for Mayu? I think it's if you don't know what it is, as soon as I say it, you're like, that's exactly what it is. What is it?
Ribs.
Oh, I was gonna say the tail.
Oh, the tail. Yeah, of course. Obviously, it's the tail. Obviously. Imagine that's where all of Mayu's power goes. And she takes out a tail and she just powers down.
Just
rolls her up. Imagine 38 seconds. Anyway, Matt, that is Marigold sorted. But of course, as I've already accidentally flipped to on the slides, it's time, good sir, to gaze at Julia.
Rob Goon, as I mentioned at the start of this show, well over 2 hours ago, this is a must-see match, and I do advise you go out of your way to see the show before it's on another streaming platform. And
I was just going to say, which streaming service is this on?
I got this on, well, it's on SmackDown, so I got it on my YouTube TV. But regardless, my friend, this was great. Julia versus Zelina Vega. We get some counter wrestling to start. Julia gets her first advantage of the match by using strikes. Of course, Rob Goodwin. Why wouldn't she headbutt Zelina Vega in the face 45 seconds in this match? Zelina Vega comes back with a Quesadora arm drag that sends Julia to the outside. Zelina Vega, again, this is for the U.S. Championship, by the way, folks, which Julia is the champion. Zelina Vega, staying aggressive, does a meteor off the apron onto the floor onto Julia, like 4 minutes into this match. We go back in the ring. We got a commercial break, but in the picture, you see Zelina Vega just kicking away at Julia. Really great stuff. Julia comes back with a wheelbarrow slam and a curb stomp for a 2 count. Zelina Vega gets the advantage back with some strikes. She goes for a second rope meteor. Julia is able to duck, and she hits a sliding kick, basically a jumping Yakuza kick onto Zelina Vega. She puts her out on the top rope. These two have a top rope fight that Zelina Vega wins, and then she does a second rope German suplex. Yes, folks, a second rope German suplex in a WWE ring. I was like, oh boy, all right, Julia, we're rolling back to Stardom days here. No problem. I get it. I'm all about that. Zelina Vega then hits another meteor. That scores her a 2 count. Then she goes again for a second rope meteor. Julia blocks that. We have another top rope fight, and then Julia in her psyche's like, I lost this top rope fight about 2 minutes ago. How do I win this? Oh, yes, let me headbutt you in the face 4 or 5 times in a row, which we've seen before. So Julia gets the advantage. Top rope super butterfly suplex, which obviously that goes into Julia's arsenal. We've seen that quite a bit. She hits the Arrivederci knee and then the 360 glorious driver, which you don't see Julia use that quite much in WWE. I thought that was the finish. Zelina Vega kicks out. Now, again, folks, there's the sequence. Top rope butterfly superplex, Arrivederci knee, 360 glorious driver. Zelina Vega kicks out a 2.9. The place is molten. This is awesome. Chanting for Julia, chanting for Zelina Vega. This crowd is well invested in this match. Excellent stuff there. Zelina Vega, Julia goes for the glorious driver again. Zelina Vega rolls up Julia for a really great 2.999 count. A lot of people bet on that. Zelina Vega then hits a backstabber. She goes to the top rope for a moonsault. She misses. No water in the pool. That opens up the door for Julia to hit a stalling Northern Lights bomb for the 3 count. This was fantastic. In my opinion, Julia's best match since she's been on the main roster, maybe with the exception of maybe that one of those Steph Acker matches, probably her best match since she's been under a WWE contract. Again, folks, I know that we're all watching all these tournaments. Sometimes WWE doesn't really fit into what we're watching. This is a Joshi style match in front of like 14,000 people. This was great. The crowd was into it. Go out of your way to watch this match. I think it goes like 10 minutes, so it won't eat up a whole bunch of your time. So excellent, excellent stuff. You like Julia and you like crazy matches that make sense with some great psychology, this is the match for you.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You heard him. go and watch it. Ladies and gentlemen, that does bring us to the end of a rather long episode of the Marigold Standard. We'll be back next week to talk about the 2 shows from Iwate and Sendai Pit, where we will have even more of an idea of the blocks of the Dream Star Grand Prix and how everything is going to fall into place. Will Miko Auno still be at the foot of the block with 1 point? Yes, because she hasn't got any matches. But that's beside the point, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening. We truly do appreciate all of your support. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We are literally everywhere. A 5-star review and a comment really helps us out, and it's a completely free way to support the podcast. Of course, we are on Patreon, patreon.com/the Stardomcast. If you like your episodes early and ad-free for as little as $1 a month, all of the news, our show reviews, our show previews are also over at Patreon for free. You don't have to sign up or anything like that to go and check those out, and you never will have to do that either. You can find us on social media at Marigold Podcast, unless it is Instagram, Threads, or Blue Sky, in which case you can find us on Talk Joshi. You can find me on Twitter at Real Rob Goodwin. Mr. Matt Turner, sign us off.
Folks, questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and bestest way to get a hold of me. Folks, if you want to shoot me an email, that's perfectly fine. The email address simply is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. Folks, don't forget to check out my interview with Reza Clark, her upcoming match coming up for MPX Wrestling in Texas. The building is almost sold out, but you can watch the show live on their Twitch. And then next week, folks, I am scheduled, fingers crossed, still happens, I'm scheduled to interview Deathmatch Queen 1 Mickey Knuckles. So a lot of great stuff, not only with tournament season, but with interviews. We're dropping everything here on the Marigold Standard, the Talk Joshi, and the Stardom Cast as well. So, folks, we hope you check them out. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. Like I always say, it's just not my podcast. It's our podcast. Because we're all together. Everybody's different. Everybody's special.